slide. Drop that pen, pussy nigga, come outside. I've been running up that check and they ain't tied. Ain't shed another kiss when my grandma died. Got an all-white rose with the bloody guts inside. Ain't shit sweet and try. Stepping in shoes is not your size. Back in the mid, I can sit and recline. Think about what? And I got freaking all on my mind. They chrome the spine. What else? Chrome the 9. Then what? Bulletproof the ride. We spin the block and yell like he ain't outside. Heard he had a wedding, he must be the bride. I take them pies, subtract them in the vibe.
That's right, welcome to the motherfucking News Underground. It's that hot girl summer. You think Putin's got him scared?
Here we go again.
Oh yeah, Putin's got him scared. Oh, they look terrified.
She started tripping, try a friend, now fuck a twin. Told your bitch to pop that pussy, plenty motor spin. Place your boy, start hooking, then I'm jumping in. Came from nothing, now my Lambo look like dolphin fin. You sniffed a bowl full of rice and I'ma call you Glenn. Dropping narcotic devices over.
Welcome to the News Underground. I am Abandoned Nihilism, a.k.a. the Harbinger, a.k.a. the realest motherfucker on Twitch. Welcome, number one in the chat, Smash! We were just listening to Disc Off for the Win with Young Demon. Excellent track. I think that was the track. Yeah, For the Win, and then it skips over to Yo Hype. Excellent track, and we were, of course, watching beautiful Ukrainian women in Odessa. Showing Putin how intimidated they actually are. You know, as you can see, a missile strike in the background there. They're up on the roof, working out. You know, look, and to the people criticizing these women, fuck you. Okay, what are you supposed to do? You got to keep your sanity. Not everybody can be on the front lines. You know, a happy, healthy economy supports the front lines. We need people on the back. We need people in the front. Those people in the back need leisure time, right? So that's the whole point here, is that these people are just trying to live their life. They're just trying to be them. You know, do it big. And Putin's got a problem with that. Putin's got a problem with democracy. Putin's got a problem with choice. Make sure to send me the beefcake video of Ukrainian beefcakes working out on a roof so I can, you know, we got to show some muscle. Right? We got the boobage, and I gotta get the muscle going. Am I wrong? I don't think so. But no. Props to these women. Props to these incredibly strong women for showing Putin just how frightened they are. You know, and look, the fact is that if it wasn't for the United States, if it wasn't for the Western alliance backing up Ukraine, this woman would not be smiling. So I'm very happy that the stars aligned and the incredibly brutal and cynical military-industrial complex of the United States has decided to offer help and offer its support for now for the Ukrainian cause. See if that lasts. Big props to those women. Oh, fuck, I'm a mess. Kids finally sleeping on the regular, though, so that's good news. All right, so we got to talk about it, folks. Assange free. Assange free. It's good news. Julian Assange being free. Now, here come the bad actors to rush to their keyboards to let everyone know that Assange is, a rapist, and he's an evil man, and he's the worst person ever, and you wouldn't believe he's such an asshole, and which a grand majority of it not true, based in some kernels of truth. Is I don't like the people that he hangs out with, Julian Assange. I don't like some of his friends. Does that change the journalism? Nope. Nope. Does that change the work that he did? I'm here to judge the value of the news content. Excellent. I forgot what I didn't even, did I update the go live message? What was even the go live message? No. What was it? Oh yes, that's right. This is a high value. This is what did someone call this? The Great Value Vosh stream. The Great Value Vosh stream. So here comes Davey, happily applying as much saliva to the government's boots as possible. Davey is a proud American exceptionalist. He, unfortunately, I don't mean to dox you, but you might also be working for the U.S. government. We won't get into specifics, but I think it's fair to say, Davey, that you do have a pro-American bias. Would you be willing to admit that, Davey? Yeah, pound for pound, greater value. I didn't say nutrition. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Davey, once again for being the only honest conservative on planet Earth. I didn't say principled. I said honest. There's no such thing as a principled conservative. They literally don't exist. Assange did less than Trump and got 119. Yeah, no, 14 years, in various places, embassies and whatnot. The beard adds points. Thank you, Big Room. Oh, God, is the big room a big room filled with furries that touch each other's penises? Is that what the big room is? Is it a big room filled with furries touching each other? Is that what's going on in the big room? You can tell me. Okay. I am the greater value Vosh. Okay? Look, we can't afford Vosh. He's too expensive. All right, we got Vosh at home. Hey, it's me. Sitting next to the can of Ovaltine. No one's touched in 7 months. All right, no, but back to Assange. So I've collected. That's exceptionally well furnished. Nice. No, so I've collected some clips here. First, to remind Davey and remind the world exactly why Julian Assange is a journalist, because there's a massive gaslighting campaign by the pro-U.S. crowd, by the crowd that would like to, honestly, further the destruction of free speech, further the destruction of journalism, allowing the United States to act extrajudiciously, demanding by law journalists give the government their sources to their information, basically destroying journalism and free speech and the free flow of information, transparency forever. So Davey basically supports that, unfortunately, by participating in this Julian Assange gaslighting campaign, because I saw a tweet yesterday that perfectly encompasses my feelings. That by no way does Julian Assange deserve the treatment that he's gotten for the journalism that he did, and it's undeniably journalism. Even the highest echelons of power, on the left and the right, acknowledge that it's journalism. So it's a bit of a moonshot, a bit of an overshoot to be like he's not even a journalist. It's kind of showing your cards right off the bat. You might want to be a little bit more subtle. But the obvious journalism that he did. So the tweet was like, it doesn't sound like this guy was a really great guy. And there's definitely some pictures with him with some like a Holocaust denier named Israel something. So I don't like his friends. But that does not change the actual journalism that he does, and the information that he gave us, which gave us a look into the daily ongoing behavior of the military-industrial complex in the Middle East. It was disgusting how easily the United States killed people and just said, oh, they're terrorists, oh, they're bad guys, all justified. Yeah, Davey, you like I said, you are an active participant in the giving the government the ability to destroy journalism forever, to destroy even the concept of journalism, the concept of whistleblowing. So, you claim to be a free speech guy, but you also lick the boots of the military-industrial complex and support the U.S. empire having full, complete control over information in the United States, which is absolutely disgusting. And, it's basically a form of control on society. So you basically fully advocate for the government to have, big brother-like powers in what you're talking about. Because Julian Assange is 100% a journalist, and he absolutely facilitated a place, WikiLeaks, which allowed for a very brief moment, and still continues to do some good work, but for a very brief moment, we got a very real look at what the military-industrial complex of the United States is actually up to. And would you believe it? They just got a lot of people killed, and and now we have the benefit of hindsight, knowing just how useless all of this was, right? Because back then there was, characters like Davey would come along and say, this is necessary and we have to do this, and this is 100%. If we don't do this, if we don't get them there, they're going to get us over here. Oh, sensitive information. Yeah. No, this is information that Americans absolutely deserve to know. Just because a institution slaps a classified on it, that doesn't mean that American people don't have a right to know. And I'd also like to remind you that names, of like agents, like it was gone through and processed properly. To avoid that kind of stuff, the accusations that, you're destroying American, all these secret agents that were uncovered, bunch of lies, bunch of total lies. This idea that the information wasn't combed over, and and there was certain stuff that was redacted. It's totally ridiculous. This is all old news to me. I remember watching this shit. I do recall a couple names getting out there. This, once again, backing it up. This is transparency. This is whistleblowing. This is journalism. Like it or the representatives of the U.S. government in the chat can like it or not. But this is what happens when the American people get to know what's going on. But yeah, no, I don't like it when journalists release the names of agents that are in the field, putting people's lives directly at risk. Yeah, no, the hyperbolic comments. Oh, he's a traitor. He needs to be arrested immediately. Meanwhile, traitors and seditious ne'er-do-wells roam the halls of our government without a single drop of irony. Literally been proven to work for the Russian government in some cases. Like, I think Louis Gohmert and a bunch of right-wingers got all kinds of connections to Russian spies and all kinds of shit. Remember that chick from the NRA, or supposedly it was something like that? It was a honeypot connected to a bunch of right-wingers. I'm not trying to what about it, but what I am trying to nip in the bud, because the bad actors like Davey are desperately trying to make this into something that it isn't. Because it's absolutely journalism. It's not treason. It's not spying. It's not espionage. But they desperately, they wanted this guilty plea, because now the bad actors like Davey are going to say, see, he was convicted guilty of espionage. He's stone cold guilty. And what Davey would like you to forget is what we're about to witness right here, which is what the U.S. government got up to quite a bit in the Middle East. Almost every single day, incidences like this happening, people getting stone cold murdered. It's called, because it's journalism. This is journalism. There's a difference. You know, when a journalist is handed information by sources, they have the right to release that information. Especially, you see, even if he uncovered real information, especially if he's uncovered real information, that's kind of the whole point, is that we're actually not getting the curated lies from the U.S. government. We are instead getting the unvarnished truth about what the U.S. government and the military-industrial complex got up to, like I said, on a daily, weekly basis in the Middle East, depending on, you know, there were lulls, you know, in that, you know, what, 19 years that we were in Afghanistan. But no, especially that we get the real information. See, that's the thing, Davey. You represent the government. You have the government's back. You think the American people can't handle the truth, that the information needs to be fed through the government so that it's safe for the American people's consumption. The only point that I will give you is the few informant names that were accidentally released, because the information was picked through, but I guess they missed some, you know, some incompetence there. From Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, a volunteer-run organization, by the way. But no, this is journalism, and this is what it looks like when the American people get a little look under the curtain, and you're desperately, like, you know, you're desperately the Wizard of Oz over here. Don't look behind the curtain. Don't look behind the curtain. Is it journalism to not release information when you have it? No, it isn't. In fact, the New York Times is, I consider the New York Times a total rag, because they did just that for the Iraq War. There was some kind of evidence or something they were sitting on for the benefit of George Bush. You know, they just did it out of the kindness of their heart. It's not journalism. It's espionage. It's espionage. We gotta nip it in the bud. Stop it. Stop this. We can't have the American people know the truth. It needs to be processed through the American government's lens. How dare you? People were put into danger. Dottie Gats in the background. All right, so let's get to the video here. I'm going to have to censor certain parts of this here, so I'm going to get my filter ready.
In early April 2010, Mary and I and the kids are in Tasmania on a holiday. It's nearly 3 years since the Mary and Sada have been killed. I've been reading
your messages.
And I picked up this local newspaper, and then on the inside pages is just this story called Collateral Murder, with still images taken from the helicopter that shows the killing of my staff.
A video leaked on the internet appears to show a dozen civilians being killed by American forces in Iraq. 2 journalists were reported to be among those who died in the attack in Baghdad.
So I can't show you, you know, the details of it, but basically this leads to a big pile of dead bodies. A van rolls up. You know, two Reuters journalists are in there. One of these guys is alive. I will show you that footage because he's still alive and he's crawling. He's injured. Good Samaritan, literally just some rando in a van who was in the area, drives up. He's got his kids in the van. And they perceive that as a threat. They say they have weapons. They say they have RPGs. Apparently, none of that was true. You know, like I said, this was normal business, and the radio chatter reflected that, which is just like, yep, this is just, you know, good job, you know, as if you, like, you know, you nailed the presentation. And there was, you know, some of them. Sometimes there was even more excitement. You know, basically, you know, high-fiving. You know, yeah, no, this was just normal everyday stuff. And it went on for years and years and years, and it still continues to go on in Iraq. I don't know to what degree. Not this kind of shit. I don't think this kind of shit is still happening. But, you know, during the when things were really rocking, when the military, when the contractors were in there, you know, when this kind of shit was happening on the daily, on the weekly, MSNBC not talking about it, of course. CNN not really talking about it. Maybe you'd hear a little thing, you know, it'd have to be reported through the Pentagon lens, which is like, oh, we engaged insurgents today. You know, oh, we engaged 8 insurgents today. And that's it. That's all you get to know. You no follow up, no nothing. But then you uncover the real truth here. This person in this video is a Reuters journalist. These were his colleagues. And, you know, he was told a completely different story by the U.S. government about what happened. And this is what Davey, by the way, is defending. This is what he's saying. No, that's what has to happen. That's the proper way that Americans should receive information. When American does a little massacre, when they do a little massacre on innocent people and journalists, they should have the right to cover it up and obfuscate and not really give us the information. And we as the American people have no right to see this ever. Ever. That's what Davey is defending. He is defending we should never be able to see this ever. Freedom of Information Act, none of that stuff. Americans just can't handle the brutal necessity of maintaining America's military position. In hindsight, of course, we know none of this was necessary. We were, of course, never in any danger. There was never any anthrax. There was never any real terrorist threat. Don't get me started on 9/11. But in hindsight, we know 20 years plus, this was wildly unnecessary, a massive waste of money and resources. And, you know, and we still have people in the world that would say, no, I don't want you to see this. Why not? If this is moral and just and necessary, then wouldn't you want us to see this? The American people? Shouldn't we be able to see this? If this is moral and just and necessary, and yep, we got to justify it, and yep, it's tragic. Oh, you know, we get them sometimes, we don't get them sometimes. But no, the government wants to be able to commit these crimes, the U.S. government, and be held zero amount of accountability for it. And really, this case is going right to the Supreme Court. That's what Trump is saying. He's like, American government kills people every day. What do you mean we're killing people every day? You can't have the American president being accountable for everything that every person the American government kills. I mean, that's crazy. Literally the argument that he's trying to make in court. Anyway, you're defending this shit, Davey, so you want to be out and proud as the boogeyman.
3 years ago.
Oh yeah, look at those dead bastards. Nice.
So we're looking at a pile of dead bodies when he's saying that. Those completely unarmed, innocent people.
Years ago.
Oh yeah, look at those dead bastards. Nice.
I couldn't believe the news. Is this the same event?
Yeah. So, and I do agree. Julian Assange seems to have some bias for the Russian government. He's still a journalist. He's still a journalist. I'm sorry. I don't agree with it, but he's still a fucking journalist. And he gave us very, very important information. Not just him, though. I mean, the volunteers that gave him the info. You're not trying to deny the very fact that he's a journalist, right? Because, I mean, we have to, at some point, we do have to separate our bias, the things we don't like about him, and what he substantively did. I mean, because to set a precedent that says characters like Julian Assange, it's okay to use the courts to trump up charges, to go completely bananas and do a bunch of nonsense. It's like it's literally. It's funny because it's like Trump is acting like he's being persecuted in the manner that Julian Assange has been persecuted by the incredibly biased U.S. justice system. Julian Assange knew that he'd be thrown into a fucking dungeon if he was ever given into their hands. He literally says the Australian president saved his life.
How could this be?
Let's shoot. Thank you.
The WikiLeaks footage will be one of those iconic.
We're looking at just a big old pile of dead bodies there, paid for by your U.S. tax dollars. a decision made in an instant by a couple fucking, meatheads. And, brushed over. Oh, it's, oh, boys will be boys, mistake. It's high pressure. They thought they saw an RPG. Nope. Nope. None of that shit.
And graphic moments of history.
But we're not allowed to know that. We're not allowed to see that, according to some.
Because it shows the full brutality of war.
I believe that if those killings were lawful under the rules of engagement, then the rules of engagement are wrong, deeply wrong.
The classified US tape that Julian Assange...
This was one of the Reuters journalists. The pile of bodies is just over here. He's crawling to get away.
Published showed that after that initial attack, Said, the Reuters driver, had been alive, that he'd been wounded.
He's getting up.
Maybe he has a weapon on his hand?
No, I haven't seen one yet. We'll see.
You guys got that guy crawling right now on the curb?
Yeah, I got him.
It showed a van pull up.
We have a black SUV or bongo truck picking up the bodies. Request permission to engage.
Fuck! Well, watch out!
And that van was driven by a Good Samaritan.
Huh?
This is Bushmaster 7, Roger, engage.
Another bystander comes along. They put Said in.
This mentality and what they're about to do was approved by the chain of command. This is how we do it. This is a war zone now. And remember, in hindsight, we know none of this was necessary. This was a complete waste of time and resources. Even the hackiest of hack defender of the military-industrial complex can't say Iraq and Afghanistan was any kind of victory against anything. Remember that when you see this complete callous disregard for humanity by the United States military-industrial complex. And remember that these are the people, there are people in our lives that would say, yep, this is necessary. This is how we defend American values. And just remember that. This is why we need to stand against that. And we say, no, there's actually a different way to do this. American values don't need to include unnecessary, completely wanton murder. We can actually, oh, you're a utopian. Oh, you're a communist. Oh, you can't. How dare you? How dare you even contemplate the concept of America sharing power with the rest of the world? If we give up this ability to kill indiscriminately without any accountability, how can we operate? Is kind of their mentality. It's an emergency for them. How dare you? How dare you? This is necessary for the sustained power of the American empire. We need to do this without accountability. There's actually another way. These are the same people, literally the same exact person that is arguing that Muslim people, because of their religion, etc., are more dangerous than whitey, Christian, Jews, Hindus, rest of the religions.
In the van, and just as they're driving off, the Apache gunship attacks again.
Come on.
And fires 120 rounds at the van.
Flare.
Orange. I lost him in the...
I got him.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
I think there was either one or two children in the van.
Right through the windshield.
Dean realized that he'd been basically gaslighted and lied to by the American military.
Here is the approved, curated, filtered version of what happened. And there are some people in our lives that want us to be okay with incidences like what we just saw happening. And then reports like this. This is what, if you're lucky, the AP will say, okay, yep, they strike. And CNN will do a quick 30-second, oh, yep, the U.S. Pentagon comes out and says we strike 8 terrorists. This is their version of those events.
The US military still
AWT accurately assessed that the criteria to find and terminate the threat to friendly forces was in accordance with the law of armed conflict. All justified. It's all justified. Same shit we're seeing with the police, right? Ah, well, we made it a law so that we could do this, so now we get to do this. Fuck your inalienable rights. Fuck your ability to protest, change laws. Same thing with the police. Well, we've deemed it legal. Totally in accordance. They said RPG and they're armed over the radio. They confirmed it. They spent a couple minutes. You know, the full footage, there's a full version of it. You know, we've been watching edited versions. There's a longer version. You know, they're hovering and doing circles around there. They're so high up in the air, they don't even hear the helicopter. They don't even know they're there. That's the Apache or whatever the fuck's up there. And you can tell how far up the helicopter is when he opens fire. You hear it opening fire. You don't see the impact of the bullets until a seconds later. They don't even, you're everything's quiet. You don't even hear anything. And then all of a sudden you're raining bullets, you know, really high caliber bullets, the kind of bullets that actually, you know, blow out your guts and stuff, you know, not little rifle bullets. But no, this is, you know, established hostile intent, zero hostile intent.
denied that anything
Armed
wrong was
insurgents.
done.
Hostile intent was exhibited by armed insurgents peering around the corner of a home to monitor the movement or activities of friendly forces. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. And there are people that want to say, "Yep, this is how we do business. You don't like it. Innocent people get caught up in it. Too bad, so sad." You know, I really would be curious if any of this would be different if these were white people, you know, or if these were European in any kind of way. Because I do think that's a big part of it. You know, we saw the xenophobia last stream. We saw the bigotry last stream. Is that a part of this?
But even though I knew the whole world was watching this tape, I just couldn't go and watch it myself. I just couldn't face it. And I paid the price for that later.
I just wanted to show this clip from Generation Kill, just to give you an idea. Now, this is a dramatization, but this just gives you an idea of the kind of shit that went down. That was, and once again, this is the kind of shit that went down that we didn't hear about, that we didn't get any footage on. Watch this clip here.
This is Hitman 2, solid copy. Ray?
And then
what the fuck is that smell?
MRE cookies. What I did was I saved up all those creamer packets and all the sugars, and I mixed in peanut butter until I sort of made this...
Don't set your face on fire again.
Word to the motherfucking street, yo. I was not the one who set my face on fire. I was the fucking victim, and you know it.
His stove in his tent blew up.
Sergeant Colbert, I was thinking, those trees over there behind us, maybe the guys who fired at us were in them. Much as I appreciate Rolling Stone's tactical input, I'm confident in the birds.
Birds. Anything moves in those trees, birds don't sing. Sergeant Aspera?
Yeah.
Do you have any more of that Tenaction shit?
Tenact?
Yeah, because this thing from my sack.
So I should have found a better clip, because right before the little comedy bit there started, he had just reported back to Hitman Actual, I think, that all I'm seeing is a family and a bunch of kids running around, like 5 or 6 kids running around and a mother. But they got reports that they received a mortar. One mortar round in the vicinity was fired. That was the report, right? So these Marines are there to check on that. They're there to confirm it. They're kind of staked out. They're in a position, far enough away where, these people don't even see the soldiers sitting there. Maybe they do, and they're just far enough away where it doesn't bother them. They observe nothing. They don't observe any weapons. And instead of going up there and double checking, they just annihilate the entire position. Man, woman, child. And why do they feel comfortable doing that? Because they know that it's just there's no proof. There's no Julian Assange. There's no WikiLeaks that's going to put out the video that they did it. Like I said, this is a dramatization, but this is the kind of shit. Everything in Generation Kill was based off real world events, eyewitness accounts. Man, woman, child annihilated because of a report that there might have been shooting.
Someone called it. Fucking Godfather called it. It's a 1,000-pounder from a Navy F-18.
We don't have the full picture.
It was on fucking battalion tag.
We had mortars fire at us from somewhere near that hamlet. Maybe inside.
Doesn't
The bad
matter.
guys shoot and scoot. By the time we hit back, they're gone.
I'm not the one who asked the enemy to mix in with the civilian populace and use them as cover to attack us.
This is Hitman 2.
So this character is I think they call him Iceman or something like that, but he kind of represents he's kind of the Davy in this story, really, because he represents the guy that tries to be professional, that tries to do things by the book. The institution, I'll explain the motorcycle helmet in a second, but the institution is corrupt. So Godfather is his commanding officer. Godfather heard the report. Yep, okay, there's women and children there. But he also heard the report that there might have been mortar fire in the vicinity of this hamlet. Okay, destroy it. Because I know I won't be accountable. The government won't be accountable. The military won't be accountable for these lives. These soldiers are not going to, if they do, in civilian world, tell Democracy Now! About these crimes, which is how we hear about it. Eyewitness reports, like I said. We hear it from the soldiers. Yes, we did this. I called this in. Generation Kill is based off real information. Real information. It's not just totally made up fabrications. But it's dramatized, right? But, he's supposed to be the good guy who makes excuses for all this. Who's just, there has to have been a reason. There has to have been a reason. And then ultimately, well, if there is no reason, well, it's not our fault. It's the bad guys. So if we're more brutal and are more willing to kill women and children than the enemy, who are the baddies again? Oh, we're dealing with brutal terrorists that kill people on site, and there's use people as human shields. So why not send these guys in? Look, this is, like I said, dramatization, but this shit would really happen. Just smoke the whole area. Smoke the whole area, man, woman, and child in there. We've been given free fire. George Bush signed the papers. Donald Rumsfeld gave us the thumbs up. CNN's got our back. MSNBC won't report on it. Kill, 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 kill. We got a war to win, gentlemen. And then they end up losing the fucking war. Why did they lose the war? Well, because the war was against something that's unbeatable, an idea.
The one who asked the enemy to mix in with the civilian populace and use them as cover to attack us.
Justify, justify, justify. He's wearing a motorcycle helmet because he lost his earlier, and the U.S. government, Generation Kill showed how Marines specifically were underfunded. They were undersupplied. He's wearing a motorcycle helmet because he lost his helmet, in a Humvee he was driving, and the U.S. government was incapable of giving him a proper replacement. So he uses a motorcycle helmet, and then he uses an Iraqi army soldier helmet because the Marines refused to give him a replacement because the Marines are fucking broke. Apparently. They're not. Gotta make do, soldier. What they told him. After the airstrike that mud hut, they shot Pat Tillman and covered it up. All right, so here's I wanted to appease the Davies of the world, the people that are defending this and are saying that this is this is espionage and a crime against the government. The conservatives that are calling for the head of Julian Assange that are also and Davey is not like this. He doesn't support Trump, but a grand majority of the conservatives that are repeating the talking points that Davey is repeating about he's, traitor to this and the worst thing ever. They support a dictator. They support installing a dictator that would destroy free speech, that would destroy, journalism, right? We're talking about a president that would be willing to shut down MSNBC and shut down ABC and CNN if they disagree. Only Fox News. And you know what? I've been thinking about shutting down Fox News as well. Newsmax is really my preferred news station. Right? Dictator shit. Those are the people that are coming up with this nonsense about him not being a journalist, about him being a rapist, about him being a spy, an international spy. The ones calling for him to be thrown into a dungeon and tortured and for the rest of his life are the same people that are trying to install a tyrannical dictator that would literally destroy free speech as we know it to a level that Americans have never experienced before in their, probably in the entire existence of America. I mean, really, think of the stuff that Trump is promising. Has America ever experienced that kind of journalistic clampdown? I don't think ever. But here's a mainstream breakdown. Mainstream breakdown of the situation. It's biased in a weird way, but it goes through all the facts in a pretty unbiased way. I watched several of these to try to get the most unbiased one, so this is the best one I could find.
We are following some breaking news now. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has agreed to plead guilty to one count of violating the Espionage Act. A federal grand jury indicted Assange in 2019 on 18 counts, accused over his role in leaking classified government information about U.S. military action in Iraq and Afghanistan. Assange has been fighting extradition to the U.S. for years.
Welcome back,
He's been held at a
by the
prison
way.
in London for nearly 5 years. CBS News Justice Department reporter Rob Legary joins us now. Rob, this has been a long and tortured case, as you know. Why this deal now?
Right. So for the past 5 years, Julian Assange has been fighting an extradition request from the United States to face the charges that you mentioned. He faced over a dozen charges that amounted to the illegal obtaining.
Well, he's not at a fucking golf course jerking off an oligarch or praising Bolsonaro, so. He's certainly not planning a coup if he loses the presidential election, which is basically where Trump was at this moment. Remember that? The waning months of Trump's presidency, his re-election wasn't looking great. He started plotting January 6th. Remember that one? I know, Barnes. I know. Look, we're going to be talking about Trump in a little bit. If you want to go ahead and come on back, Mr. I made an account in 2023. If you want to go ahead and come on back once we're talking about Trump so you can fill the chat with your ignorance and bile, you go ahead and do that. Biden is demented as your candidate literally poops in a diaper, can barely stand straight, and slurs all of his words during speeches. I know hypocrisy. I know, like, the whole point is to avoid and ignore all the hypocrisy, but there's so fucking much that it really has just become an exercise in, boredom. Talking to you people, to you fervent, MAGA Trump people. It has become completely boring to speak to you because you're literally owning the diaper thing now. You're like, okay, yeah, well, we can't lie about the diaper stuff anymore. So golden diapers and real men wear diapers. I mean, it's just, once you've embraced this level of shamelessness, it's literally impossible to have any kind of substantive conversation with you. So it's best to just show you the door and, let us entertain you for the moments that you do, but basically move on with our lives. Biden is at Camp David. You sure he isn't, hanging out with a bunch of fucking cronies at the White House, plotting how they're going to, just literally steal America? Like I said, as Trump was doing at this very moment during his presidency, plotting January 6th. Well, how could we do it? Could we do martial law? Could we do this? This is all documented, by the way. It's all been through it. Asking his advisors, well, what can we do? How can I get this? How can we guarantee a win? How can we steal the election? Almost literally.
And then dissemination of classified documents from the United States military. He was indicted in Virginia, just nearby where we are right now. He's been fighting the extradition charges and was in custody in the United Kingdom over the last 5 years and has been trying to resist coming to the United States.
Yeah,
There's been an ongoing legal battle where appeals courts have been giving him more opportunities to explain why he didn't think he should be facing these charges and be sent to the U.S. That included a court in England demanding that the U.S. assure that court that he would not face the death penalty if he came to the U.S. Instead, Assange and the Justice Department have foregone those negotiations and have instead decided that he would plead guilty to one count of that indictment, alleging that he conspired to illegally obtain and then disseminate that information. And he's going to appear at the Northern Mariana Islands, which is U.S. territory close to Guam. He's going to appear in a federal courtroom there on Wednesday morning their time, which Eastern time is about 7 p.m. on Tuesday.
Rob, is this a surprise or has this been in the works for a long time?
So there were media reports that this plea deal was in the works. This case is a long time coming for both Assange and the Justice Department. At the time, he was accused, and federal prosecutors have alleged that he leaked very sensitive information on his WikiLeaks website that included the names of individuals who have helped the United States military. Assange has said he was a journalist and was performing the act of a journalist in doing so, and has denied all wrongdoing, has been fighting these charges. Here, he's admitting that he did do that, but he will escape serving any more jail time.
Yeah. So like I said, this is what the bad actors wanted. See, we got him. Convicted espionage, convicted spy, Julian Assange deserves the death penalty. All treasonous activity should be we should be really worried about treasonous activity, says conservatives, right? There's some hardcore, corporate blue dog neoliberal Democrats that are, rah, yeah, I agree, we should go after Assange. But there's plenty of Democrats that acknowledge it's journalism, I mean, I would say there's actually probably more Democrats that support arresting Assange that treat him like a spy because they support the military-industrial complex. So maybe I take that back. I would have to actually look at the numbers of Democrats that actually do support Assange. They are out there, right? The Squad. I'm sure there's members of the Squad. But I think the mainstream Democratic consensus is that they agree with the conservatives that, he should be arrested and he's a spy and he put Americans at risk and we can't have the truth. We can't have Americans knowing the truth. That's really, really bad. They basically talk to a Hillary Clinton. She basically agrees 100% with that consensus.
He's receiving time served credit for the time that he spent in the British prison.
Okay, which means he's basically free and clear to go at this point.
It appears that way. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But at the end of the day, he will, as we're learning, he will, receive credit for the 62 months that he spent in the British prison. He will then be free to go.
Watch a bunch of Americans
as we mentioned, the Northern Mariana Islands are pretty close to his native Australia, which has been, and that just to mention as well, that country has also been fighting for his release.
Right. Justice Department reporter Rob.
Yeah, assassinate our political enemies. Yeah, that's badass. Yeah. So They do a really good job here. Novara Media does a really good job breaking down this. We're going to show the first part where we see the statements from the Australian president, who definitely is, I think everybody has been successfully gaslit by all of the propaganda about Julian Assange, that even his defenders now have to be very, very careful about how they defend him. And that's, because of the extraneous effort to uncover every little detail. With that said, there does appear to be some legitimacy not that he raped anybody, but, you know, uncomfortable sex awkwardness in the workplace, something like that. There does appear to be, what I'm trying to say is there does appear to be some granule of truth deep within these accusations, but a grand majority of them trumped up and false. And Navarro does a really good job at the end here. This Ashley, I think is her name, does a really good job kind of like putting words to this, you know, how we need to handle this, how she, you know, initially agreed with the bad actors that we have to separate. We agree with all the accusations, but we have to separate the journalism from the man. But then she is now coming to the conclusion that a lot of these charges were overblown, and it definitely has something to do with the fact that he pissed off the military-industrial complex, not so much that he was actually some kind of sex pest.
Liza Shaheen live about her independent campaign in Chingford and Woodford Green. Julian Assange is...
I mean, Ace, you're I see your avatar. You're a man. You're telling me 10 years trapped in an embassy, you know, 10 years trapped in illegal limbo. You're stuck somewhere. You know, you got a beautiful woman who's, you know, representing you and defending you, and she loves you. You're not gonna go in on that shit, dude. What are you fucking talking about, dude? All of a sudden, human beings aren't human beings, and right, we're not talking about like a couple weeks stuck in an airport terminal. We're talking about 15 fucking years trapped in one embassy or another. We're all like, I don't know why you do that. I don't know. It plays into their framing. What, that a woman would want to marry him? The framing is that he's a, you know, gross sex pest, raping chicks. He married this woman, Ace. He married this woman. Right?
Finally free.
Or is this, or did he, or is this a different woman? Am I wrong? Am I mistaken? Oh, he had sex with his lawyer. Oh no, he had a kid with his lawyer. This is definitely a special circumstance here. This is not exactly like Stormy Daniels, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like, you know, Michael Avenatti having, you know, like that would be some crazy shit. Okay, like, whoa, that's nuts. Like this, like no one hears squeaky clean. Everyone's banging each other, but no, this is a kind of a special situation. He married this woman, right?
This is the moment he arrived in Canberra, the capital of his home country, Australia. After 5 years of imprisonment in London's Belmarsh prison and 14 years of legal persecution by the US government, the 52-year-old WikiLeaks founder was greeted with cries of welcome.
Definitely walks kind of weird. He's got a weird kind of gait going on. I wonder if that's an injury or something.
Home. The end of Assange's legal battle with US authorities took place in a court on the small northern Mariana Islands. That's a US territorial outpost in the middle of the Pacific
the Mariana
Ocean.
Trench.
On Wednesday morning, local time, Assange pled guilty to a single felony, conspiring to unlawfully obtain and disseminate classified information. Under the terms of a plea deal reached between Assange's lawyers and the US government last week, the judge sentenced Assange to time already served. After that, he flew to Canberra.
I mean, I believe in free speech and I believe in journalism, not too much. Too much free speech, too much journalism. Can't do it. No, can't do it. Most information needs to be filtered through the opinion of the U.S. government to be safe. Okay, you people can't handle it. Okay, you need to be on that fucking wall.
Where Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese welcomed Assange home via telephone call. Later, Albanese told journalists what he and Assange had talked about.
Mr. Assange and I, this evening, as I said, I've never met Mr. Assange. I had a very warm discussion with him this evening, though. He was very generous in his praise of the Australian government's efforts.
I bet.
The Australian government stands up for Australian citizens. That's what we do. Thanks very much.
The end to Assange's legal battles with the US.
It's hard for the pro-American crowd, the American #1 crowd, to disagree with that right there. Right. Ultimately, this was about an Australian citizen being harangued by the U.S. government. Right. Whatever despicable crime he may have committed, he's served his time for it. No, he hasn't. He should hang. He should hang for treason. Oh, America cares about treason now. Really? Yep, I'm a conservative and I care about treason. Okay. Got any more? Got like a whole 10 minutes? Got the brick wall. We got the brick wall. You know? Yep. I believe in free speech too as a conservative. That's why I want to install a dictator. Not bad. Not bad. You got 10 minutes of that, dude.
The US was heavily influenced by Albanese's intervention in the case after he repeatedly advocated for the journalist's release, both publicly and diplomatically. Now, in fact, he is the only Australian Prime Minister to have spoken out in support of Assange and against Australia's ally, the United States, since the extradition case began. According to Assange's lawyer, Jennifer Robinson, Assange told Albanese that he had, quote, saved his life. But amid the celebrations, Robinson also had this to say about the meaning of the case.
Julian has suffered for more than 14 years because of the risk of extradition to the United States. He faced 175 years in prison for publishing evidence of war crimes, human rights abuse, and US wrongdoing around the world.
Yeah.
Today, he pleaded guilty
to
an offence for having published information in the public interest, for which he's won journalism awards the world over and been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize every year for the past decade. This sets a dangerous precedent. This prosecution sets a dangerous precedent that should be of concern to journalists everywhere. The US is seeking to exercise extraterritorial jurisdiction over all of you without giving you constitutional free speech protections.
That's correct.
And anyone who cares about free speech and democratic accountability should stand against it.
And the bad actors would say, well, he's a rapist, so that means the U.S. government should be able to trample these rights. That the U.S. government should have the final say on what is and isn't true. That's how we keep everything safe. That's how we keep everything together. If the world was allowed to see all the crimes of the U.S. empire, well, we'd be, this would just be harder to hold it together, and then we'd be less safe. So it behooves you, other countries, the rest of the world, to fall in line. When we talk about the U.S. empire and the military-industrial complex, and how ultimately the goal of these empires is to, in a way, rule the world. They have different ideas of how that is. Russia seemingly wants to do it the old school way, Alexander the Great style. Plant the flag, push in the army, force assimilation. The United States doesn't care about that. All the United States wants is you participating in the same financial system. That's how the United States wants to rule the world. Everybody using the dollar or their currency leaned off the dollar, its valuation based off the dollar. You can keep your culture, you can keep your society, but ultimately you acquiesce to American economic military power. Right? Oh, okay, maybe you got a country that doesn't agree with abortion. Well, America isn't going to, invade or tariff you based off your, religious beliefs and things like that. Oh, well, we're going to kick out every fucking American oil company in our country. Oh, well, hope you enjoy the coup attempt. Hope you enjoy the rebel organization that all of a sudden has a bunch of resources and money. That's how it works. That's how the U.S. government wants to rule the world. The reason why this is and they would say, well, yeah, that's okay, though, because it's going to be America doing it. And wouldn't you rather have America doing it than China or Russia? And it's like, well, I would like to see a third way where everyone's working together. Oh, that's impossible. Certain cultures are incompatible, remember? Certain things are incompatible. We simply just can't do it. What is the logical conclusion of incompatible cultures? Annihilation. Annihilation. World peace, world cooperation is actually possible. The bad actors would say, no, the only solution is dominance, one over the other. We have to accept the reality that the Chinese and Russian and, there are other bad actor governments that absolutely, you know, want control. They don't want cooperation. They want what America has now, and they want to triple and double and quadruple it. You know, Chinese empire across the world forever kind of shit. So we that totally exists. That's totally a real thing. But the existence of these bad actors does not justify the United States acting in the same way, but even worse. Well, this is a race. We have no choice. We're in the race now. We have no choice. There's no other. We're on the racetrack. There's no other way off this racetrack. We either drive the hardest, are the most brutal, are the most cunning, are the most shrill in our negotiations. We either do that or we die, or we acquiesce to these other empires. There's no other way. There's no other way. And no, but there is another way. We don't have to lay down our arms. We don't have to, this idea that, just, put the flower in the gun and hug everybody to peace. That's impossible. There is a way, though, to exert power, to show other empires that you are powerful, while also setting an example through the Western Alliance that there is a new way. That there is a way for real cooperation, economic, politically, socially. They would say no. The only way to do it is through the current paradigm.
Assange's freedom also means he is finally reunited with his family. As Assange left the plane in Canberra, he was greeted by his wife, international lawyer Stella Assange. It was an emotional reunion for the couple who married in Belmarsh prison in 2022 and who have 2 children together. Speaking to reporters after Assange's release, Stella Assange conveyed this message from the WikiLeaks founder.
Julian. So look, she's not my type, but, Ace Fram over here talking about, oh yeah, I've been trapped in an embassy for 10 years or whenever they started their relationship, right? I've been holed up in this like political limbo. Ace over here saying, oh yeah, dude, this beautiful woman comes up and is, trying to defend him and, is in love with him. And Ace is like, no, Julian should have, Julian should have known better. He's hurting his case by falling in love with this woman and marrying her and having 2 children with her. While he can, by the way, he's almost in his 60s, right? I don't get that. I don't get that one. It's bad for the framing. I'm not sure about that one.
Wanted me to sincerely thank everyone. He wanted to be here. But you have to understand what he's been through. He needs time.
Look, okay, so it's traumatizing for him, and she's pretty biased on that one for obvious reasons. So let's skip to the final part that I wanted to show you, which was Ashley's breakdown of everything. And I thought this was really, really good because, like I said, this puts eloquent words to kind of the current situation, because the gaslighters have successfully injected enough doubt, and they're going full extreme. He's a traitor. He should be arrested, thrown in the gulag. Worst of the worst. This isn't journalism. He's literally not even a journalist. He's a spy. They've done a really, really good job of being so hyperbolic that somewhere in there is the truth. People know that, and they're like, well, okay, I don't want to support a rapist. I don't want to support a guy who's like a sex pest. So I don't know what's actually true or not. I want to support journalism, what is obviously journalism, what is obviously necessary information for people. But I also don't want to support a fucking Harvey Weinstein. The gaslighters have succeeded in that. And I think Ashley does a good job of kind of breaking through the fog.
Similar process, but he would have had to have gone to the continental United States, which
I don't know if I've pissed Davey off. He's probably at work and too busy to rebut everything, or else he would be furiously doing that. But I'm sorry that I'm picking on you, Davey, but out and proud, calling this guy, I mean, like I said, you went too far. I mean, you're going too far with this talking point. He's not even a journalist. You'd be better off saying, oh, he's a journalist, but he's incompetent. And, it's obviously we can't be trampling on journalism, but we have to go after a criminal, that kind of shit. You're going too far by just saying, oh, he's not even a journalist. He's a spy. I mean, come on. come on with that. Just because he hurt the U.S. government more than he hurt Russia. I do agree, though, that there does appear to be legitimate evidence that he held information, negative information on the Russian government. So that's pretty disgusting stuff, right? Don't like it. The prosecutors got a free pass to use that to portray him as someone who can't control his urges, just like the dubious charges that they were trying to use. But it did play into their hands. All right, Ace. Okay, you know what? Yes, I will agree with that because yes, even though he clearly was in love, he wasn't being a sex pest. That was not the case, obviously, as we know now in hindsight. You don't marry the woman and have another kid if you're, fucking around. A bit too deep. But I will agree, in a court of law or, bad actors in the realm of propaganda, yeah, it could be easily twisted as a negative, as he's a sex pest, he can't help himself, he's, fucking every woman in his sight. Yeah, okay, I agree. All right, you've made your case, Ace, and I'll give it to you. Life of the kid was going to have is likely we're going to kill Julian. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Yeah, the 2 kids now, right? All right, so let's get the statement from Ashley, and then we can move on.
He didn't trust. Have you been sort of surprised by this move?
I think that the timing took me by surprise, seeing as that it seemed that the US had been ramping up its attempt to extradite him. This was definitely a pleasant surprise. I can completely understand why Julian Assange and his legal team completely and utterly rejected the plea deals supposedly offered to him before, particularly if they involve disclosing of journalistic sources. I think this is from one of the things which is really critical about the Julian Assange case, which is that because
that's why I'm not calling him a hero. I'm not calling him a hero because there's enough evidence of me to acknowledge that there's some bullshit there. There's some bias there. But it goes back to what I'm saying originally. Like, this has turned into an attack on free speech. This has turned into an attack on whistleblowing, on journalism, on the entire concept of it. And we got to nip that shit in the bud right now, because we're talking about, do people have the right to know what your government is doing with your taxpayer dollars? And a lot of people would say, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, most people don't know what's going on. Would it matter to them if they knew? If journalists were able to have this information and tell them what was happening? Probably, actually, yeah, that's pretty dangerous. We can't have that happening. Davey's a pretty honest person. Would Davey disagree that we should start showing dead American soldiers on TV again? I would hope not. A lot of people that Davey agrees with would say, hell no, we should never do that. Respect the dead. Let's not see it. Let's not see the result of it. But Davey's pretty honest. Maybe he would. This some live thing. Oh my God.
He was a journalist whose work involved exposing the crimes of the American state because he bypassed the usual means of publication. People in the industry didn't see him as one of their own. They didn't see him as a journalist who is being...
What? Ace Fram, are you serious? The prosecutors using diapers to steal the DNA to test it? That is amazing.
Criminalized for legitimate journalistic work and being pressured to reveal his sources that even the most dreadful hack in Fleet Street would say you should absolutely never do. So I think that there was a problem of journalistic solidarity there. I think that I've been trying to think about my own responses to the Julian Assange case, in particular with regards to the allegations of...
So this is what I was talking about, and this, like, we can't let the gaslighters win here. We have to have some nuance on this. They want to say he's a spy, he's a rapist, and like I said, this is morphed into an attack on journalism, and they're using Julian Assange as a kind of way to set a precedent that would allow them to clamp down further on free speech and cloak it in the under some kind of legitimacy.
Of sexual misconduct, I suppose you would say, sex acts which,
Thanks for coming back, everybody.
Breach the scope of someone's consent, and actions of sexual misconduct, I suppose you would say, sex acts which, breach the scope of someone's consent. And at the time, my feeling was very much, okay, well, what you've got to try and do is separate what the American state is trying to do, which is extradite him and try him on charges of espionage, and what the Swedish state is trying to do, which is investigate claims of sexual misconduct. And obviously, as a feminist, I was very much feeling like, yeah, this has to be investigated, because I was coming at it from the position of a woman who knows how difficult it is to even come forward with that kind of thing, let alone.
I think she's referencing something that happened in her professional life. I'm not quite sure.
To be believed by the authorities. I think now I look at it with perhaps a lot less of the certainty that I used to. That's not to say that, women are liars, or like, it was all just a smear automatically.
Can't trust them hoes.
They may have been true allegations. There may have been some truth to the allegations. There may have been no truth to the allegations. But I think, to me, what's clearer now is that there was certainly something of a relationship between this investigation, the attempt to extradite him to Sweden, and also the judicial process that the US wanted to get started. And I think that, a few years ago, I looked at it primarily through a lens of feminism, where also, don't forget, being in a context where it was very, very difficult to talk openly about issues of sexual violence, particularly sexual violence on the left. And I think that I tried to go, you can make these things completely separate. Whereas now, I look back on it and I think, maybe they weren't that separate.
No, there's something.
I mean,
there.
Yanis was sort of.
And look, and this is why I'm like wishy-washy on Scott Ritter when it comes to the pedophile allegations, because governments absolutely weaponize allegations, and will go after trumped-up charges and all kinds of stuff. That's what makes Trump's language about the deep state and everything, kind of have some teeth, because there's absolutely some truth to that, subterfuge and, things like that. The government absolutely gets up to that and will absolutely, destroy your reputation, with an allegation, with an investigation that insinuates something, and fishing expeditions. Oh, well, he wasn't guilty of beating his wife, but he has a crack addiction. And, we found a video of him, cheating on his wife with with someone and smoking crack. We got it. We got you. That kind of shit. That absolutely does happen. But with a character like Scott Ritter, I mean, he's like, we don't even need all that. Like I said before, in a previous stream, like we don't even need the allegations. Like he literally doing speeches for the fucking Kremlin. That's all you need to know about Scott Ritter. But that's why it's like the grains of truth that the gaslighters have, are basing all these allegations off, are still truths, and we still have to acknowledge them if we care about the truth. Kem Goblin's, pointing out his bias for the Russian Empire, which was, pretty shitty but true. And there's also a quid pro quo there, because I believe, wasn't Russia protecting him for a little while, something like that. He was in Ecuador after that, right? All right, moving on from Assange, and let me just apologize to David for I don't know, beating up on you, man, but you're a proud defender of the U.S. empire, the military-industrial complex. You're repeating the conservative talking points that he's a traitor to the country and he deserves. You didn't really specify exactly what he deserves, but they go completely off the rails and. They say, torture and imprisonment and all that. You seem to agree with the consensus that it's more important that we arrest this person, setting a precedent that there's a certain amount of journalism that is unacceptable. It's more important that we arrest this person at hurting journalism than we defend journalism and defending free speech. by not arresting this person for espionage because he's a journalist. Right? When someone in the government hands a journalist information, the journalist is not considered a spy. That's how journalism works. If the journalist was considered a spy, then the president could just literally go after anybody with anything. Oh, you got classified information. You got classified information. Well, yeah, because you classified it. Remember Barack Obama classifying literally everything? Literally? Not literally, but close to literally. Yeah, he went the most, he ran a campaign literally saying, I'm going to be one of the most transparent presidents in American history. And then he went on a classifying spree, going through the archives, retroactively classifying things that have been declassified. So there was like a bunch of stuff on the internet that had been previously declassified and released to the public that had been reclassified, and then the federal government scouring the internet for all this information. So isn't that cute, right? We got an institution that makes the rules, defines what is and isn't espionage, what is and isn't terrorism, running around trying to find excuses for journalists to be classified as such, creating a precedent that would be used and defended by mainstream media. Oh, well, it's legal, Joe, Morning Joe. Oh, well, it's legal. American government, they got a process for this, and you got to trust their judgment, and blah, blah, blah. Is the FBI thing. You guys still want to know about that? Check back to me in 2 years, and then I'll tell you. I'll tell you my FBI story in 2 years. All right, so let's move on to just a touch of UK news before we get to Sudan. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me. But we have to talk about this, the betting scandal, yada, yada, yada. It's just one more nail in this coffin for the Tories, man. How bad could it be? Last time you said 5 years. How do you know that? There's no fucking way that's true. How do you even know that? I'm a spy, but you are also a spy. Spy Pride Month. Spy versus spy. Oh, I love Spy versus Spy. There's an animated Spy versus Spy. Look it up on YouTube. It was from a Mad TV pseudo young adult TV sketch show. I don't know. It wasn't Mad TV. It wasn't Mad TV, but it was like Mad Magazine, MTV sketch cartoon crazy thing. Look it up. It's on YouTube. Anyway, it really has been satisfying watching this disgusting, decrepit party fall flat on its face, and in such an epic manner. One flop after the other. You got the D-Day flop, and then you got the gambling flop, and then what was it before D-Day? There was something happening before D-Day as well. Some bad. Oh, the rain. The announcing the election in the rain. Just floppy. Oh, Nigel Farage coming in here with this fucking Reform Party. Is looking like the Lib Dems might actually be the second most powerful party. This party, no, the third most powerful party. I'm sorry. So it'll still be the Conservatives, but we are looking at a defeat that the Conservatives have not seen in the last 100 years, and that's a fact. 100 years. Yeah, with this song, it can only get better blasting behind him. Mad TV would be so good. Not the later Mad TV, early Mad TV. Do something interesting, okay? The characters are cool, but man, only put them out there if you got something interesting to do with them. God, they went crazy with the characters in the later seasons of Mad TV. Too much Mrs. Swan. All right, anyway, I got to talk about it. 3 minutes. Let's just get a quick little update on the betting scandal, which is the latest. I mean, Rishi Sunak over here is just like, please, can this end? Can this fucking end? I just want to get to the finish line, accept defeat, and then, start slandering the Labor Party for the next decade about how the Labor Party want to raise your taxes and the Labor Party want to go after your kids. Can we just get to that so I could immediately start that process of a decades-long lie campaign that, we'll have to pretend is some kind of legitimate clash between ideologies and isn't some fucking ultimate cynical form of politics.
Dressed for matrimony, a break from a campaign that's lacked harmony. The Prime Minister got to do something today which has evaded him for most of the election. Look Prime Ministerial. The occasion, the state visit of the Japanese Emperor. A happy distraction from a disastrous election campaign.
I like how this guy still dresses as early 19th century Rockefeller style banker. It's like they have to dress this way, I guess, because what the old emperor used to dress this way. Looks like he walked out of a time machine. Like literally, like his door should just have a bunch of steam coming out, dude. And he fucking, you know, some brass time machine. Hello, come at you from the past.
Campaign and what many in the Conservatives now consider an inevitable, unceremonious divorce from the nation.
Yeah, thank God.
I committed an error of judgment, not an offence, and I want to reiterate my apology directly to you.
But it was an error of judgment for which
you're betting money. What? Like, okay, it's one thing to do it if it's like, okay, I mean, come on, this is juvenile, but you know, no one really cares, you know, but it's really just ultimately juvenile, and you're a bunch of man children. But it's legitimately illegal. There's a whole gambling investigative body for this kind of shit. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Oh, we could just flout the law. Oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's that Boris Johnson mentality, right? Oh, come on. We're above it. We're above. That's for regular people. I'm really proud of the UK right now, because let me tell you something. The Republicans in the same exact, similar boat, not same exact boat, but in a similar boat, where the Republicans couldn't be less popular in the United States. They have decided to attack the systems of government, the levers of government, democracy itself, and are disassembling that locally and federally wherever they can, because they know they will never be able to defeat democracy because they're so damn unpopular. But the Tory party in the UK, they don't even really seem to be, that doesn't even seem to be a possibility in their eyes. That doesn't, I mean, maybe a few things here and there procedurally, but they, Boris Johnson and the rest of them seem to have gone in there thinking like with a Trump-like mentality of like, okay, we're the new boys in town. We can break all the rules. We got Brexit done. We're untouchable. And that is just not the case, man. These guys, you can't even get slipped up having a little stupid juvenile bet between buddies about, when the election's going to be called. Something, it's kind of trivial, right? It's kind of trivial, but it's like, no, there's a hard rule against, there's probably a precedent for this rule being there. There's probably some incident in the past that facilitated the need for the rule. And these guys are being held accountable. And it's good to see. It really is. It's like democracy exists in the UK still. It's not under direct threat by the Tories. Yeah, they're not really seeing that as a viable avenue for them to stay into power. It's really great.
Craig Williams has now lost Conservative Party support for this election.
Hi, my name's Laura Saunders.
As too has their candidate for Bristol North West, both been investigated by the Gambling Commission for allegedly betting on the timing of the election.
So the party did take the time to look at these allegations properly, consult with the Gambling Commission to make sure this action doesn't prejudice what the Gambling Commission is doing. It did.
There's a whole commission. There's a whole thing. Was this commission put together for this investigation, or I'm just confused of clearly this is against the rules, and clearly these people are like, well, the rules don't matter. I love to see it, man, because you let them get away with an inch, they'll try to get away with a mile. Okay, so you get them on this small procedural stuff. You are a representative government. You should be a boring, pencil pusher, with a political ideology, and you shouldn't be some, you shouldn't be betting for or against your own citizens. It is totally uncouth. It is totally uncouth, because we're not talking about an office setting, right? We're betting on college basketball. We're not talking about that. We're talking about government officials, betting, making bets on. It's not like it's the fall of democracy, but it is really uncouth. It really is, and fucking the Labor Party is guilty of it too, but not nearly on the same. It does look like the Conservatives were getting up to it a whole lot more, and it's just weird, just a weird. You got more important things to do. I just do not get it. So I agree with the commission here. I agree with forming the commission if that was formed for. if that's why it was formed, it needs to stop. This is ridiculous. Come on.
Take 5 or 6 days to do that, but now that's been done, decisive action has been taken, and they're no longer supported by the Conservative Party.
When Rishi Sunak marched out into the rain to call the election on May 22nd, unbeknown to him, as he got wetter and wetter, the seeds of this scandal were planted 3 days earlier when his own parliamentary private secretary, Craig Williams, walked into a local betting shop and placed a bet on there being a July election.
He went into, okay, so this isn't even a bet between colleagues. This guy went to a fucking bookie? Oh, honey, this party. I thought this was like, oh, $200, hey, Joe, $200, I bet you, I do it with you guys in the chat all the time, right? You went to this was like an official bet somewhere? I mean, come on with this fucking ridiculous. Get these fucking people out of government. I mean, seriously. Holy whoa, you literally said that. It's just, they gotta go, man. Look at this guy. He gotta go, homie.
Then, 3 weeks later, the party's still recovering from the Prime Minister's decision to leave D-Day commemorations early. The news of Craig Williams' bet breaks. A week later, one of the Prime Minister's close protection officers was arrested for allegedly also placing a bet. On June 20th, it was revealed the Gambling Commission was investigating Laura Saunders, candidate for Bristol North West. Later that day, her husband, Tory Director of Campaigning, Tony Lee, took leave of absence and is also being looked into by the betting industry regulator. 2 days ago, the fourth Conservative Chief Data Officer, Nick Mason, investigated for alleged betting. Then today, the Met Police announced
spitting image really doesn't have to do a lot. The spitting image puppets, they're more realistic than real sometimes.
Another 5 officers investigated by the Gambling Commission for alleged bets. And 2 weeks after the story first broke, the Conservatives finally withdrew support for their 2 candidates.
Why on earth didn't they do this?
By the way, they did that like hours after representatives were saying, "Oh, we can't do that. We can't do it." Like Rishi Sunak just a few hours before made a statement about how no, we can't do that. We're not going to be cutting people out of our party, and then they just do a total 180. They're completely devastated. They don't know what to do. They don't know what direction to go in. What it is right now is a massive effort to try and reduce the amount of safe seats that are going to be flipped, right? To try to hold back the amount of damage that's going to be done. And they're really floundering. They're really failing. They 100% totally deserve it. And honestly, if our democracy was functioning correctly here in the United States, that's why the poll numbers, are so crazy, because it's like Biden and Trump, just a few points. But it's no, if our democracy was working properly, if Americans were getting, information, the correct information, and investigations were being done into January 6th planners and the current members of the government, Mike Johnson, Matt Gaetz, et cetera, Jim Jordan, et cetera, if these people were actually being held account on an individual level by the system, by the institution, we would probably see more acceptance of the truth, because it's like you can't hide from it. These individuals being allowed to walk around committing treasonous acts in front of everybody and then having no accountability does kind of make it seem like there's some legitimacy to what they're doing, like that they're, oh, well, you can't get me because I did everything I did was legitimate. You got nothing on me. You got nothing on me. When in reality, these people are stone cold criminals, stone cold planning and participating in a fucking coup. And have not been held accountable whatsoever. The institutions of government just completely, allowing them to get away with, getting away with treason. Not the case in the UK, even with a small little thing like this gambling thing, really being held accountable here. And there's a big difference.
Finally withdrew support for their 2 candidates.
Why on earth didn't they do this on day one? It beggars belief that it took this long. I think the next thing we need a bit of clarity on is if any of them are elected, are they going to have the whip? So no, I don't think they've gone quite far enough. I think it's taken far too long and they haven't said what's going to happen next.
On the ground in Bristol Northwest, exasperation, regardless of who you vote for.
It feels a bit like some of the Conservative Party members are trying to destroy their party altogether, which makes you wonder a bit just how conservative some of them really are. I found the whole thing really quite sad.
One damn thing after another. I think Rishi's very clever. I know people don't admire him, and I think he's made some mistakes, but I think he's good. But the rest of them are a load of horrors.
I think people who are still lingering Tories have that kind of faith to the end. But I think everybody has long since jumped off that ship and gone to somewhere else by this point.
I'm Kevin Craig.
The latest twist in this tale, a surreal one. The bet, not the when, but the outcome. And Kevin Craig bet on himself to lose, which he now describes as a huge mistake. Labour say, in contrast to the Conservatives, they suspended Mr. Craig straight away. The one thing transcending party politics, though, a lack of judgment among some candidates.
Bet on himself to lose. Wow. 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 There's a little taste of UK politics. Once again, my really big concern, I'm happy about the Tories losing. I really am. I think it's great news. It's absolutely well deserved. They failed in whatever, whatever. If they were honestly trying to help people, please stop trying to help. Right? Like if you want to just give them the total benefit of the doubt and say, well, they tried the best that they could, they objectively utterly failed on almost every metric. They appointed a person to find Brexit benefits, Jacob Rees-Mogg, I believe. And the best he could do was some farm stuff here and there. And it's not just Brexit. Not just Brexit, how they handled COVID, et cetera, et cetera. Welcome back, Trailhead. Welcome back, everybody. I know, I forgot to, I was on a roll there. But we got pretty nasty stuff happening in Sudan here. Sudan's raging civil war could see 2 million starved to death. Aid agency says the world is not watching. So let's go ahead and get this little clip here from CBS News, and then I have a follow-up as well.
More than 10 million children in Sudan are living in an active war zone. That's according to a new report from Save the Children. It's been nearly a year since the civil war broke out there, and UN officials say the fighting between Sudan's army and the Rapid Support Forces paramilitary has thrown the country into one of the, quote, worst humanitarian nightmares in recent history.
Millions of people are reportedly facing starvation, and Sudan's health system is on the brink of collapse. Let's bring in BBC News reporter Mohammed Osman to explain exactly what is happening there. Mohammed, thank you for joining us. Can you just explain to our viewers who may not be at all familiar with the ongoing conflict in Sudan, what its origins are and what the situation is currently on the ground?
Yes, despite that today is the first day of the Eid in whole the country, but the fighting between the National Army and the Rapid Support Forces continue in many parts of the country. According to the military sources, the fighting occurred today in Al Jazeera state and also in Sinnar state.
Not if you watch other political streamers, though.
Weapons, including air strikes. Also, according
I guarantee 90% of other political streamers are talking about Dr. Disrespect, the pedophile right-winger that we all knew he was. COVID denier, right-wing supporter, and now confirmed pedophile. Guarantee you that's the main topic.
To the eyewitnesses from Darfur, particularly in Al-Fashir area, that the army used, airstrike to bomb people in the ground. That led to new, casualties. According to the medical sources who spoke to us, they said, around 10 people were killed during this airstrike today.
We just put up this sort of statistics there, 8.2 million people displaced. This is like a man-made crisis that is happening. People are starving, and it's also putting pressure on neighboring countries like Chad because people are fleeing for their life. But are these other countries in a position to support the millions that are desperate to get away from the fighting?
Right-wing idiot, Dr. Disrespect. Enough said.
Yes, as you mentioned, that war, causes a lot of, horror to among the Sudanese people, and there was no end to the side of the war that will stop, soon, maybe even for weeks or months. Today, just the chief commander Burhan, General Burhan, confirms that the army will continue fighting until defeat. Was so called the rebel group, inviting that the Rapid Support Forces. Also, yesterday in a speech behind Zaid, the commander of the Rapid Forces, General Hemeti, said that he will continue fighting also until to reach what he called the victory. So it seems that the starvation and the harassment of Sudanese people continue more and more, and we expect more, refugees and even more IDPs person, in the country. That the Sudan now is the largest IDPs person in the world currently. So we expect more kind of refugee and kind of IDPs again in many parts of the country.
Right, no end in sight right now. Mohammed, thank you so much. This is a conference.
Well, that was definitely, his accent was very thick and he spoke very quietly, so that was definitely hard to kind of understand. So let's get a different video here from France 24. War rages in Sudan. Region faces influx of refugees amid many political, socio-economic challenges. Let's get it. We're not going to do the whole 15 minutes, but we'll get a good chunk of it first before they get to the interview. We'll get that part. I think we'll. Yeah, so we got the interview with people in Sudan, and then they cut to the expert. So yeah, we'll do the first 5 minutes here. And once again, no offense to these experts that sometimes I have to cut out. You're wonderful, intelligent people most of the time. I just, I'm pressed for time.
It began a little over a year ago as an argument between two top generals. It's now become a full-blown civil war, with humanitarian aid groups and the United Nations warning that Sudan faces its worst famine possibly in decades, the way things are going. More than 9 million people are at risk. This is an exclusive report at the border with South Sudan from France 24 correspondent Olivier Bizot.
Poor little thing.
Every day, about 1,000 people cross this border into South Sudan. They're fleeing the war that broke out in April 2023 in neighboring Sudan between the army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, with the few belongings they have left. This family traveled for 5 days from Khartoum. They faced checkpoints and threats from both warring sides.
The RSF is threatening everyone in Khartoum. And if you leave your house, they'll take everything you own. Even if you just go out to get some bread, they'll beat you. Everyone living there is a prisoner in their home. You cannot imagine the horrors of what is taking place and the crimes they are committing. Nothing is left.
Asha, her 2 children and 4 grandchildren just got here. They're already being sent to the nearby transit center in Renk. They're among 9 million people to have been forced to flee the conflict, making it the world's largest displacement crisis.
It's my first time here. We're expecting difficulties, but nothing too serious. It's been good so far, and it's such a relief to not hear the sound of explosions and war.
Asha and her family finally arrive, exhausted.
Hello, how are you? If you have any problems registering or with anything, I'm here to help.
I am now feeling safe. I am sharing with you. Before I wasn't able to talk. But when I remember everything that happened, I feel sad. The scars can still be found in my mind and soul.
This settlement was built to host 2,000 people. But it's now bursting with more than 25,000 refugees who are facing shortages of water, food, and shelter.
Straw huts.
Now that we've arrived and I'm seeing all these people, I'm starting to get nervous. I thought the main challenge would be leaving Sudan. And once we were out, it would be easier to go abroad to another country with my children. But all of these people are hoping for that too. My expectations are quickly going down.
In an attempt to ease the pressure on this transit center, people are being transported to more permanent camps. It's 5:30 the next morning. Yassine is about to set off. He came here alone. His wife and his 4 children are still in Sudan.
Okay, I want to go to my barn and see what the situation there and whether it's acceptable for.
I guess, well, 90% Muslim, huh? So I guess this is another incompatible culture, another migrant crisis that we just can't do anything about, even though we have insanely abundant resources and space, and these are incredibly hardworking, you know, honest folk, mostly. You know? Same amount of, you know, criminality as any other human civilization or culture. No, they're especially mean. Oh, they build the Quran. Oh.
For my family to come there and stay with me there. I think it is better than here because this camps is well accommodated and everything is good than here.
While women, children, and the elderly travel by bus, the men are forced into this truck for the 12-hour drive along dirt tracks.
Jesus Christ. 12 hours in that fucking truck, dude. Fuck me.
The sun has already set by the time they finally arrive at their final destination, Maban. It was a difficult night for Yassine and the other refugees.
All of these people escaped war and all of them need help. I hope that life will become easier for us. The important thing is for my family to be safe. They have already killed most members of my family in Darfur. Armed men killed them, raped them.
A grand majority of people that are, you know, extremely religious are okay with the separation of church and state as long as the government allows them to worship within, the bounds of common sense and reason, right? No human sacrifice, no child marriage. You know, there are extreme religious elements will be like, no, you got to give us, you know, child marriage and you got to let us force hijabs. But ultimately, they'll acquiesce if the government provides enough liberty otherwise. The main essential thing here, though, is the separation of church and state. We must make that the norm because it's, you know, it's a fact. People that are incredibly religious are incredibly susceptible to grifters and bad actors who tell them what they want to hear. You know, going to ban abortion, legalize child marriage, et cetera, et cetera. And regardless of the policies that are actually enacted or anything, what I'm trying to say is that it's very often that very religious people are ignorant enough to allow themselves to become useful idiots for bad actors inside government to utilize them as a valuable and consistent voting base where all they need to do is say the right things and they instantly get a vote. That's where the separation of church and state comes in. We need to, you know, there needs to be a clear separation between religious demagogues and people that want to actually run the government. And like I said, as long as that government provides enough religious freedom for, you know, the religion, like I said, you know, okay, you want to do a snake ceremony, you want to carry a dagger, you want to do, you know, all these different things. As long as the government doesn't encroach too deeply on adults that want to do silly ceremonies, you know, however they want to do them. And like I said, within the bounds of reason, not harming children. You know, some would say the religion itself is harming the children, you know, being forced to be indoctrinated into that religious ideology. But the only thing the government can do to preserve liberty in that case is to just make sure that the religion allows for that person to leave, that it's not a cult. You know, where a cult says you're not allowed to leave, and if you try to leave, we'll go after, you know, you and the people that you love, and so that's a cult. There is a difference there. So, like I said, as long as the government is providing enough religious liberty, the extreme elements, which will always be there, will, you know, be placated enough. There will always be the extremists that are like, no, we want to change government, we want to, you know, we want to run government, we want a theocracy. Those elements will always exist. But as long as we have a very strident separation of church and state, then, you know, they can only get so far into government.
Trauma isn't the only challenge. There's a huge shortage of basic goods here, and most people haven't had access to health facilities since before the war. Because of a lack of international funding, aid workers are struggling to cope.
Children that are brought from Sudan, they came together with severity of malnutrition since the time they arrived. 70 or 80%, they are seeking medical assist in the facility.
We meet Yassine again. He's being given a tour of where he will live by Majid, who arrived here a year ago. Yassine feels defeated.
I will try to find a fine place, to safe place for all aspects, security, education, good life, and then I will bring them. But now I cannot bring my family here. Now I see and it is not as I expected. It's bad or worse.
I mean, this guy seems pretty well off compared to some of his, compared to some of the other folks in that area. He actually has the means to go there and actually see if it's a viable place to go. A lot of people that are ending up here, they're going there because if they stay, they die. So it's interesting to get this fella's perspective here, who's like, yeah, no, this isn't really going to work out for me. For a lot of people, it's like, well, it's this or death.
As I expected, it's bad or worse.
It's an impossible choice, living in camps full of hardship or living in a war zone.
Yeah, look at these
But
animals.
it's a decision that Sudanese people will
clothes.
keep having to make, as it's unlikely the conflict in Sudan will end anytime soon.
I was being facetious, by the way, about that, because there's so many bad actors that want to dehumanize, the reason, because there's a lot of racists that say, oh, well, these people are in this position because this is their culture and this is how they want to live. They want to be like this, and that's just not the case. Grand majority of human beings, regardless of where they're born, whatever color, creed, religion, they just want, clean, fresh clothes, hanging out with the family, eating food, hanging out with loved ones. Human stuff, the stuff that humans do every single day, the stuff that we crave, peace and security. And it's like, oh, the religion, and oh, it's the culture, and oh, it's this, is that, and this. Check the size of their skull. And it's like, no, it doesn't matter where you're from. It really doesn't matter. The human experience is universal, and we need to put our foot down on that one, because the empires, the oligarchy, those that benefit from strife need to convince us otherwise, so that they can continue to have control. And we, that accepting that we're all universally human is actually very scary for them, because how do you tell a soldier to annihilate another person? How do you justify that to your people, to annihilate another this other person? How do you justify that murder if everyone recognizes the universal truth that we're basically all the same? Can't have that. We can't have that. No, so some cultures and societies are lesser. It's just the way the world is. It's just the reality of it. Okay, some are superior, some aren't. And that mentality kind of manifests itself in various ways. All right, so I have about a half hour left. At the very least, we got time for a little Alex Jones update. Huh? Want to talk about Alex Jones? Yeah, why not? Huh? It's good news. It's good. Oh, it's good news. Don't know it. Oh, it's good news. It's good news. So I was reporting. Shut up. I was reporting earlier. So guilty plea. The judge said he's gonna. Okay, we're gonna go. There was some kind of ruling or something that said that we're only gonna go after a certain amount of personal assets. Well, I guess there's multiple rulings here. I was a little confused because it sounded like InfoWars. He was going to be able to keep InfoWars. Yes, I should have the applause. He was going to be able to keep Free Speech Systems, the Orwellian company that he funded. That's the main company that owns InfoWars. Well, something else happened. and he's got to shut it all down. It's all getting liquidated, dude. It's all getting liquidated. He lost the info war. Info beat him. The truth has set us free from info wars. Oh, he's not going to go away. He's not going to go away. You know, it's very likely that his company will be sold to a right-wing oligarch who will hire Alex Jones to be the host. Welcome back to Prison Planet 2.0, now owned by the Blaze Network. That kind of shit. But it goes back to what I was talking about earlier about accountability. You know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I believe in free speech. I believe in Americans' rights to be wrong, to say ridiculous things, to make complete nonsense up out of whole cloth. National Enquirer style, right? Oh, you know, Hillary Clinton had an alien baby, right? That's free speech. That's how it goes. You know, we should be able to parody and make fun of, you know, celebrities and other individuals of merit and note on TV, and, you know, et cetera, right? You know, like, we need to be very careful about what we're banning here. What I don't agree with is stochastic terrorism and libel, which are not protected by free speech. Stochastic terrorism is where you insinuate that it would be expeditious, it would be a smart thing to maybe use violence in this situation, or a call to action is sometimes what it's called, right? Where it's like, well, he didn't exactly tell us to harass Sandy Hook victims, but he insinuated that these people were grifters, that they were dishonest, that they were lying to us, and, you know, that they're dishonest. You fill in the blank. That's stochastic terrorism. And of course, libel is making up lies about people that legitimately affect their life in a substantive way. So in the case of, like I was saying, you know, Hillary Clinton had an alien baby with a Bat Boy. Like, okay, that's utterly ridiculous. There's no proof of that. No one would consider that libel. That would really be more considered parody or satire. But Alex Jones went well beyond that and committed libel, making up lies that directly affected people's lives, their livelihood, you know, their jobs, their mental health, you know, and you're not allowed to to say those things, but you're also not allowed to profit off them. So if Alex Jones had literally just stayed in his lane, you know, talking about the fucking Illuminati and the New World Order, we wouldn't be here. He wouldn't be here. But he found it beneficial to join in with the right-wing maniacs who want to pretend, you know, who find it convenient to pretend that mass shootings are some kind of, you know, a government psyop to grab our guns. Even though that didn't happen, you know, the whole thing about Sandy Hook was, oh, be careful, this is it, this is the pretext. They're going after your guns. Obama's going to go after your guns next. This is the pretext. Watch it. It's going to happen any moment now. You're going to see it. It's going to be a total clampdown. They didn't do jack shit. He didn't do jack shit about guns. Some master plan. So he either, you know, according to the conspiracy theory, he either made it up, you know, the government made it up out of whole cloth, or they just, you know, they got a Manchurian candidate to murder children, and then they just kind of did nothing with it. Do we have time? But I don't know. We don't have time, man. I don't know, man. They just dropped the ball on that one, huh? You just ruined your whole life. You ruined everything. For nonsense, for just total nonsense. And he 100% deserves it. This isn't, you know, justice gone awry. This isn't left-wingers who control the judicial system going after their political enemies. No, not at all. In fact, during the sentencing, he wasn't even there for the sentencing. He was there. He showed up when they after the sentencing, after he was found guilty. The only time he showed up to court was when they were talking about how much money that these families were owed. Then he pulled a Trump. He pulled a Trump during that, when that deliberation. He's getting on a show and talking about the judge and talking about the jury, talking all kinds of shit. They literally use those clips from the show in the fucking trial. So they get him on a bill, dude. They get him on a motherfucking billion. So I say this from the bottom of my heart. Fuck you, Alex Jones. You 100% deserve it. You 100% deserve it. There used to be something there. There used to be something to admire there when he was going after the Bush administration, when he was trying to call out some of the, New World, like the Illuminati, skull and bones kind of shit. Okay, there's some truth there, the skull and bones, they were, George Bush was a member and all that. And what's ironic, what's the most ironic thing about Alex Jones is that he has joined into the narrative of, this tyrant's narrative, this dictatorial narrative, this empire. He's like part of the system that he was warning us about. Apparently the only solution, the only way to get freedom is to install a dictator, according to this maniac. He went full right wing. And he lost everything for it. Remember that clip of Alex Jones? Oh, we got to show it. Okay, last little thing of Alex Jones we got to show before I move on to the next thing. Let's see if we can find it here. But that famous clip of Alex Jones saying that Trump ruined his life. Let's see here. Which one is it? I guess he did it multiple times. Oh, there's too much crap. I should have had this ready. All right, so I'll show this one. I don't know if this is the exact right clip, but there's a great clip of him going, Donald Trump basically ruined. No, I'm so fucking sick of this. Is it? This is the clip right here. I'm so fucking sick of of Donald Trump. So it's so funny. This was before. I think this was before January 6th. And then he he was pulling away from Trump, and then he, tripled down and quadrupled down. And he's just a pathetic idiot. He just doesn't know what direction to go in. He can't let go of his silly conservative identity. He doesn't know, he doesn't want to look into or open his mind. Ironically, right? This guy's supposedly such an open mind, right? He doesn't want to open his mind to other ideas. He's kind of married to these wrong ideas, and he's going down with it. They're like an anchor, right? He's trying to swim and catch air, and he's grabbing anchors and attaching anchors to his ankle. Oh God, someone help me, please. I'm my own worst enemy. I'm my own worst enemy on InfoWars, newworld.com. Please help me. I'm attaching anchors to myself and I'm sinking. Someone help me. Alex, stop grabbing anchors. You almost had the right idea. If he went full-blown anti-Trump during January 6th, the Sandy Hook stuff still would have happened. But it's almost interesting. It's almost tragic. If he wasn't such a bad dude, right? It would be tragic. But it is interesting. Davey, well, thank you for coming back. I do appreciate it. I don't know if you were listening the whole time. I did try to squeeze in an apology. Yeah, thank you for that update. I guess we're going to go to Bolivia after Alex Jones here after this clip. So let's get to that, and then we'll get to Bolivia right now. Might be having a military coup. Okay.
I'm so sick of fucking Donald Trump, man. I'm fucking sick of him.
This is pre-January 6th.
Conspiracy theorist and right-wing independent talk show host Alex Jones has made millions by courting Donald Trump's court base. But now...
Some of them going to double down. No, I understand, Davey. I know you were working and whatnot. I was trying my best not to, shit on you too hard, but yeah, no, I vehemently disagree with your assessment of Julian Assange.
Leaked behind-the-scenes video has shown his true feelings towards the former president.
It's the truth, and I'm just going to say it, that I wish I never would have fucking met Trump.
Filmmaker Callan Robinson stated he leaked the unaired footage from a conservative documentary to illustrate Jones's cynical business model. Alex Jones doesn't care about most of the stuff he professes.
He doesn't, you know, the conspiracy theories. I mean, maybe there was one time in his life that he was like, you know, into this stuff and he was maybe believing it, but you know, you know, once the money started rolling in and he kind of realized, well, I could just kind of make up anything I want to make up, and I could just kind of, you know, and the money rolls in, I could just kind of insinuate certain things, and if I say it in a certain way, you know, and I think it just I've said this before about Alex Jones. I think it's just gotten completely out of hand, out of control, right? This grift where, you know, he was initially, you know, hey, he's like a firebrand, he's doing like, you know, public access journalism, and you know, it's like he was, you know, that's the thing, and then it kind of blew up into this other thing, and he had to keep the fire going, right, as the money is pouring in, and it's gotten completely out of control. He's totally cynical. I do believe his whole the whole right wing, you know, Trump for life, we got to die for Trump, is just him holding on to his audience. To his wealth, to his personal wealth, now more than ever. Now that, you know, now that it has completely ruined him, these are the only people he has left. So even though he, you know, even though it's poison for him, it's totally toxic, and it totally fucking ruined his life. Maybe not the Sandy Hook stuff really wasn't Trump stuff. That was really you know, his own creation. But the Trump stuff hasn't helped. And so he's going to have to triple down. He's going to have to be, you know, once if Trump loses, you know, oh, they was going after deep state, was going after him. You know, he's going to have to keep these MAGA people because, you know, they're going to be pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars into his coffers.
It just shows he doesn't care about anything he talks about. He doesn't like Trump, but then goes on camera talking about how Trump is the savior.
Yeah, he's totally cynical.
A year into office, you'll be saying, wow, I remember that interview. He said he was going to do it, and he did a great job.
Well, I'm impressed. Donald Trump, I hope you can help uncripple America. Thank you so much, sir.
Robertson also shared text messages he claimed to have exchanged with Jones, who asked to have his anti-Trump comments removed from the final cut.
Don't do it a lot, but I do look out. You're so pathetic, Alex. He's supposed to be the tough guy. Oh, the blustering. Oh, be scared. Oh no, he's coming for you, Mr. Deep State's coming for you, Illuminati. He's just a pathetic guy. You know, who's desperately trying to hold on to this gravy train that he that kind of like, you know, kind of like fell in his lap a little bit. You know, it's because it was the, you know, the public access stuff is the doing it every day. It is a job. It is hard work. He's been very consistent with it. So I'm not trying to take that away like it was a total accident, but there's just no way he could have predicted this gravy train churning into what it is. Right. And like I said, I think he's in too deep, and it's out of control, and he has to triple and double down if he wants to keep any wealth. It's either that or become a pauper. You know, a left, you know, a person who agrees with the left but doesn't have any money. We don't have any money. We can't give you any money, Alex, to be a liar, right? All we have is the truth. All we have is the truth. We don't have any fucking money. No one pays you to tell the truth. No one pays you to tell the truth. It's so true. I could get millions of dollars telling lies to right-wingers and to left-wingers if I do it correctly. It's much more difficult to get money lying to left-wingers. Yeah, okay, we were going to talk about that, but we got a frickin' Bolivia. We got a frickin' coup happening in Bolivia right now. Announces coup attempt. So literally...
In statements from the South, Marinela Prada, Minister of the Government Presidency, assured live from the
Thank you once again, Davey, for this update.
That we want to denunciate this coup attempt. The people is alert. Organizations are on alert
Fix
to
your
defend
mic.
our democracy. And this must be for
Chat's
our children and
disabled.
for our future. We must avoid a coup to happen again.
Cup? Okay, let's see if we can find anything else. Literally one. Okay, that is just a terrible, terrible stream. Fix your mic. All right, let's check out this other one here.
Que no la podemos corroborar a esta hora de la tarde.
fuerte control policial y también de inteligencia del ejército. Hemos visto a bastantes personas que no estaban informadas.
No,
pero
I
que
mean,
estaban
it'd be all
coordinando
fun and
con
games
jefes
until I'm
militares
like
que
cashing the
están
checks, you know, and it's like, oh my God, you know, the lies I'm spreading for this wealth.
Hay una gran concentración de personas que está
You know, I'm
llegando.
driving around in my cyber truck. I'm like, I'm such a fraud. What am I doing?
Cerrar el paso para el acceso a este lugar. Ellos aseguran que hemos podido hablar fuera de cámaras con algunos de ellos. Nos han dicho que es por la seguridad de la población para que no puedan ingresar al lugar y no sean prácticamente gasificados.
Okay, right. The music. All right, here we go. AFP News. Bolivia armed military vehicle rams door of presidential palace. Holy shit, guys.
Apenas unos 5 minutos.
It's not about being real, you know, in terms of needing a weapon. Real men need to be able to defend themselves, need to be willing to defend themselves. You know, with whatever tool that they deem necessary to do so. But yeah, a rifle doesn't necessarily make you a big man. A gun doesn't make you a man. What you're going to do with that tool is what makes you the man.
En la puerta del palacio. Observe con atención esta imagen, la tanqueta ingresando, rompiendo la puerta de ingreso del palacio de manera violenta para que el general del ejército ingrese al palacio quemado. Esto sucedía...
Han ingresado prácticamente los militares, habían algunos efectivos policiales. Ellos que están en este sector, ahí observamos algunos, es un capitán, es el ayudante del comandante departamental también. ¿Qué es lo que ocurre? No hay una información oficial, hemos escuchado al ministro Montaño, hemos tratado de escuchar al ministro paradero del presidente del estado. Bueno, y mientras les mostramos lo que ocurría, gas que están utilizando en este sector. Ustedes observan la gran cantidad de gas lacrimógeno que...
I don't know Bolivia politics that well, so I'm not quite sure who to root for here, or if anyone is even rootable. Is this the military? You know, military coups are usually not that good.
Muchas gracias, Edwin. Vamos a volver
Come on, give me something here. Give me something. Some English. Davey's right. This is oh God, breakthrough news is terrible. Breakthrough news is a bunch of liars. Look at this. I actually had a clip from Breakthrough News in here where they're talking about Kenya. We're going to talk about Kenya here, but it looks like I won't have time to talk about Kenya today. But you know, they're showing this really interesting video of you know, Kenyan peacekeepers, or you know, whatever you want to call them. But they're like, the first 400 Kenyan police officers have arrived in Haiti to be the backbone of the U.S. engineered and funded occupation designed to keep Haiti mired in poverty. America bad. Then you got the community note. It's literally the only useful feature on Twitter. This is a UN-backed contingent, not a quote-unquote U.S. engineered and funded occupation, as stated by this clearly disinformation account. Haiti has consistently grappled with poverty, influenced by factors like political instability, natural disasters, and economic mismanagement. So, I mean, the truth is somewhere in between, because the West is not squeaky clean either. Let's not get that twisted. But we're talking about the information source here, so this just gives you an idea of what breakthrough news is all about. But let's watch this, because it is in English, so let's go ahead and watch this. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what breakthrough news is all about, spreading disinformation, but seemingly from the West. Hey, greetings from south of Boston. It's your boy, Lenny! Lenny is, of course, the #1 Twitch streamer on this platform. Make sure you check it out. Accidents waiting to happen. How are you feeling, Lenny? Feeling still recovering from your situation there? All right, so we got a coup attempt in Bolivia. Is this a military coup? What are they carrying boxes of? They got Girl Scout cookies? And you're buying them Thin Mints. You're buying the fuck out of those Thin Mints, boy. Learn to flip in a wind tunnel? You don't need to death to feel exhilarated? Good point. Those indoor wind tunnels are super fun. Wow, this is really quiet. Where's the booming music? Where's the da 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 ba 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 ba? What is that? What is that from? Da 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 da. Is that the A-Team? Be the A-Team. quiet. There we go. Yeah, so this looks like a military coup. Well, I wouldn't say that to the frontline soldiers in the Ukrainian military kissing Gonzo. The president of Bolivia, Luis Ayes, has reportedly been taken into custody by elements of the Bolivia army who have entered the presidential residence, the capital of La Paz. The president Arc said that they have been arguing with the leader of the coup, General Juan Jose Zingua, who yesterday he had relieved from command. I see. So it's a full-blown military coup. Yeah, this is never good. Never good, never good. Here we go, something from the AP, live. We just got live footage of the coup aftermath. Pretty wild stuff. Let's see if this live footage does have any kind of military presence. It's like, no, it's just been a bunch of people milling about. But it looks like they're starting to gather. Maybe this is around the presidential palace, or maybe this is around the government building of some sort. Very interesting. Tanks deploy outside. So this is AFP once again reporting. I think this is footage we've already seen, though. Yeah, we've already seen that. Could add some music to that. What do we got here? Where's Anderson Cooper? Get out of your makeup chair. Get your ass in front of a camera and talk about this, Anderson. Previous coup didn't work. This one looks like a little bit more well organized. Were they able to get to the president last time? Bolivia, Evo Morales. Oh, that's right. So it's Evo Morales that's in Bolivia. Duh. Okay. Interesting. So I know Evo Morales is, I don't know if he's still popular amongst the left, but I remember him being popular amongst the left when he got into power. Man, English just not over this at all. But this will definitely be the last story of the day. Are any sounds of small arms fire? It doesn't look like it. It looks like they just beat down the door and didn't receive any resistance whatsoever. A bloodless coup, could it be?
Vamos a repasar aquí juntos.
I don't mean to mute what she has to say there, but I just don't speak her language, so. A bunch of soldiers just sitting around, waiting around. Commander of the Bolivian Army was relieved of duties yesterday. Yeah. But he's leading it. Yeah, it's interesting to see how many people are loyal to him. What do they hope to achieve here, these guys? I don't know. This looks... How bad was the last one? Was it the same thing? The military getting together like this? Oh, come on. Really interesting, all the, you know, the YouTube algorithm from a different country. You know, this algorithm just completely... Okay, here we go, Bosch. All over it. Should I do the same thing with mine? Coup attempt in Bolivia. Do the big... the clickbait. Let's see what he has to say. See if he's doing anything better than I am. No, maybe he's smarter. Let's see. Watching a live stream.
Doesn't make any sense. So this is just he's waffling. He's just waffling, right?
Recuperemos, liberemos a todos los presos políticos, absolutamente. Voy a ser claro. Desde Camacho.
We have the balls to fight for the future of Chile.
Los coroneles, generales, tenientes coroneles, mayores y capitanes que son presos.
What political prisoners is he referring to?
Oh wait, am I allowed to show Vosh? Because isn't he banned on Twitch? Is that illegal? I might get in trouble. Shit. Okay. I was just curious if he, you know, looks like he's watching an interview with the president there, or it looks like the general of the coup. Does he speak the language? Is that why he's able to get the translation? Oh, maybe he is a smart cookie, that Vosh. It's interesting. How is he getting that translation? Was it maybe his audience helping him out there? You can't show people that are banned from Twitch. Yeah, that's a real thing. Yeah. Yeah, like I'm not allowed to interview Destiny, you know, for example. Okay, Well, this isn't really helping it with anything. Yeah, we really don't have much at the moment here. It's funny. Vosh is like the most popular English streamer talking about this. Well, I'd give him credit there. Let's see, let's get some more live here. Oh, am I spelling Bolivia wrong? Okay, well, that would make sense. Fucking moron. Bolivia, Bolivia. Okay, so all right, we got the AP. Okay, Davey with a link here. Let's take a look.
With democracy in this country.
Oh, thank you. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Davey.
When journalists asked him if it was an attempt of coup, and if he's going to talk with privacy, he didn't say anything, and he only said that the army was going to reestablish democracy in this country, and that all the armed forces are actually garrisoned in all the country. He also said that the 4 armies in this mobilization, General Zúñiga has also said that an operative of liberation of the political prisoner has already begun, beginning from the governor of Santa Cruz, Camacho, at about 25 kilometers from La Paz, in a maximum security prison. He has also said that Giannini will be liberated. So we can infer a relation that the police, anti-mutiny police, are jointly working with the military.
Oh shit, police and military. Okay. Not good.
The people that are the military that are in prison are in prisons that are in charge or controlled by the police, special police.
These bastards are cooing their own country. Does Evo Morales deserve this? I don't think he deserves this. Is he that corrupt? Or is he left wing? Is that the problem?
All the military are garrisoned in all the country and the city in order to prevent any demonstrations.
Right. Because that's what saved him last time. So wow, they tried it once, they failed, they went back to the chalkboard, built up more strength in their coalition, and then once he was let go, he triggered it. What's the font on your display in chat? Oh, it's probably some video game font. Let me see here. Appearance, is this it? Avatars. Yeah, it's a font provided by Stream
we were
Elements.
Listening to Telesur correspondent Freddy Morales, who is on site to inform in first hand on the coup attempt taking place in Bolivia. He assured that the General Zúñiga assured to the press that the armed forces is the one that will restore democracy in the country. He assured a liberation of political prisoners have already begun. This is the information given by our correspondent Freddy Morales. According to the general, however, jails in the country are on charge of national police.
So, sounds to me like Evo Morales was going after corrupt elements in the government, and they didn't like that. Am I hearing this correctly? I know Evo Morales has his own corruption scandals.
Of political figures of the world and the region, from Venezuela.
So yeah, this looks like a well-planned, well-executed, bloodless coup.
The Foreign Minister Ivan Gil assured that the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela denunciates and rejects in the most energetic way the
so Venezuela doesn't have their back yet.
That is taking place against the government of the president-elect of the plurinational state of Bolivia, led by Luis Arce Catacora. and this coup is being executed
been in power
by
since
some of the
1998. This is
units
probably a good thing.
of the armed forces and the traitors.
Is there a re-election or
of La
something?
Paz
Because I remember him
today.
getting into power
The government
5-6
of the
years
Bolivarian
ago, maybe
Republic
10
of
years ago.
Venezuela makes a call to the international community.
Another link from your boy,
especially
Davey.
to
Thank
the
you,
community
Davey.
of states of Latin America
I
and
know this is a little bit boring.
CELAC,
Al Jazeera with a live
to
stream?
mobilize
Okay.
in favor of the
I know that's a little bit boring, but it was actually quite
in Plaza
informative.
Murillo that are in front of the National Palace, that some of those soldiers are wearing masks, and that there could be more
Thanks again,
arriving.
Davey.
And the people that
Appreciate
we're talking to, journalists there in the capital, say that at the moment it's difficult to know if the soldiers that are arriving are in favor of Zúñiga or in favor of the president, Luis Arce. So it's a really confusing, ongoing struggle there that's actually being played out on the country's national TV networks that we're watching right now as it
So
happens.
there's a section
this
of
is
the
a country
government,
that's had problems
the military and
in
the police
past,
defending
that's
Evo Morales.
seen the army basically force ex-president Evo Morales a while now out of the country into exile in Mexico. So it has been turbulent. And it's going through a lot of economic problems right now that have also meant protests. And that's all going to feed into what's happening right now in the capital
John,
of La Paz.
we'll just talk our audience through the pictures that we have been looking at as you've been speaking. Videos showed armored vehicles and soldiers in the Murillo Square in the center of the capital, and the president, Luis Arce, has demanded that democracy be respected. A short while ago, there was a video of the president surrounded by his cabinet, and he stated that he's standing firm against the attempted coup. What other reactions are we hearing, John, as we watch this breaking situation?
Yeah, I think we've summed it up. Those are the two main reactions, both from President Luis Arce and from Juan José Zúñiga. But this is a country of 12 million people that's been through a lot, especially in recent years, with social problems, but also with economic problems. It's a poor country, among the poorer of the countries in Latin America, and it's faced a lot of revolt and a lot of social problems. So this would be just a continuation of that as this continues.
And John, we're starting to see some regional reaction as well from the Organization of American States Chief Luis Almagro. We condemn the events in Bolivia. The army must submit itself to the legitimately elected civil power. We've also heard from the EU's Josep Borrell, who says that the EU condemns any attempt to break constitutional order in Bolivia and overthrow the democratically elected governments. And as we mentioned a short while ago, we heard from the president of Bolivia, Luis Arce, in a video saying that he stands firm against the attempted coup. What exactly are the potential consequences here, John? What looks like it could happen next?
I think it's hard to tell what's going to happen next. What we do know at the moment is that although the soldiers rammed the doors of the National Palace, they're not actually inside of the National Palace. That's what we're hearing from journalists that we know in the capital, La Paz, at the moment. So I think things are still delicately poised. It hasn't at the moment gone one way or gone another. Luis Arce, the president, has called on social movements inside the country to come to their aid. And Bolivia is a country with very strong social movements. It's a country with a lot of different indigenous groups, a lot of groups also of cocoa growers. So he's going to be calling from the ones from his side. And you mentioned as well reaction from outside the country. I'm just looking right now at a tweet from Mexico's president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, who's saying that he shows the most energetic condemnation of the coup d'etat attempt in Bolivia. So a lot of regional leaders as well are coming out to speak against this. Gabriel Boric, the president of neighboring Chile, Honduras's leader, former Bolivian leaders, they're all coming out to say that this isn't right, this isn't the way to resolve this, having the army come in and try to take control.
John, if you
really
could talk us through the context here. We've seen local media reporting that General Zúñiga was telling reporters that he intends to recover the homeland. Exactly how powerful is the military in Bolivia?
Well, it's been a force that's been powerful enough in the past to, for example, as we were just talking about, to send ex-President Evo Morales into exile after quite a long time in control. I think 12, more than 12 years in control, when he was invited to leave the country by the military and was then basically forced out into exile in Mexico. So there is a precedent for this in Bolivia with the army. And more in the 20th century than the 21st century, this is something that was seen not uncommonly in Latin America, the army having a strong force, the army taking control and getting out of the way presidents they thought didn't go to their wishes. And as we were speaking about, General Juan Jose Zúñiga was fired yesterday. So this is something that he said is an affront, and that he won't be. That he's upset by the affront, and that enough is enough.
But you knew
that's
that.
Something
You're
that he
something that he said earlier
beforehand. So there's obviously something as well that's personal in this. His personal power is also being threatened.
Right, John Holman reporting there on the phone from Mexico City following those developments in Bolivia.
The coup has not completed. It's kind of there's factions that are pro and against. I don't know what how many are pro or against. They haven't gone in the building. The president is in Mexico at the moment. And in his cabinet, we were looking at that. That was in Mexico City.
Levels of destruction after Israel's bombardment of late.
All right, so now we're talking about Palestine. We'll be getting to Palestine either tomorrow, maybe not tomorrow. I won't be able to do a stream on Saturday, but I might be able to do one on Sunday. I'm busy on Friday. Bolivian labor unions are declaring strike against the military coup. Okay, that's good news. The coup does not have popular support. It's so depressing. I can't. Every day with this, every day, more images from Gaza, more excuses. You know, the excuse makers go, "Oh, it never ended." You know, however many need to die, that's how many need to die, and it's starting to work. You know, the strikes are almost constant coming out of Gaza, attacking north, south, middle, anywhere, refugee camps, fucking aid trucks. Doesn't matter. It's just constant. You know, with the presidential stuff happening, and all that, and all the other news happening, this violence has just become a, you know, normal everyday thing in mainstream media. The whole days go by with mainstream media not even reporting on these strikes. No end in sight. People have become fatigued to it. The horror continues. Jesus Christ.
معاذ الكحلوت, Al Jazeera. Nothing Gaza Strip, Palestine.
In the last 24 hours, at least 60 other Palestinians have been killed. In Gaza City, Israeli forces.
There you go. All right, but that's all the time I have today. Sorry, we can't, cover this more. Sorry, I'm not a lifer like Vosh who can sit in front of a camera for 8 hours a day, doesn't have a family, doesn't have responsibilities, but I have to go get the oil changed for the car so that I can make a road trip on Saturday. Got a birthday I got to do on Friday, a very important birthday, not mine, but a loved one's. So, I have responsibilities. Bosch doesn't. Lucky son of a bitch. Who's to blame for that though? Huh? No, but that was, that is interesting. He's one of the first English streamers to be talking about it. He basically got there before even the mainstream media. That's kind of interesting that Bosch was in front there. No, thank you, Davey. I appreciate your wrong opinion, but I do appreciate you consistently giving it to me. But no, big props. I'll take all the News Underground wherever you're available. Hey, Lenny, you're the best. Thank you. You were the first English streamer. I guess technically, yeah. I don't count, though. Come on. This is a joke. This is a joke. Are you kidding me? Oh, God, the dead kids on screen. I just can't do it, man. I really can't do it. Every fucking day, more dead kids from Gaza, and Bibi Netanyahu, no one's stopping him. Joe Biden still talking about how he's a proud Zionist. It just doesn't stop. Just doesn't fucking stop. It's getting to me. Getting to me, dude. getting flashbacks to the Iraq War or the Iraq and Afghanistan War. It was just every day more violence, every day more insanity, and it's like my country's doing this. I'm paying for this, and I can't. The guilt doesn't go away. The guilt doesn't stop. What do I do? But no, big props to Smash, who was #1 in the chat. Thank you, Smash, for being here for the whole stream. Congratulations, Smash. Appreciate it. Thank you. Big props to you. Big props, of course, to Davey, today's punching bag. Big props to Lenny, the Ponder Monkey, who's also a great streamer in his own right. Make sure you check out the Ponder Monkey. Ace Fram, thank you for being here for most of the stream, and thank you for your opinions. Trailhead, you're great. Thank you for coming back. I do appreciate you coming in. Ant Soul, I don't know what your deal was. Big props to Kissing Gonzo. Thank you for all the kind words. I do appreciate Kissing Gonzo. Big props to Clutch Cargo over there. Hey, it's Clutch Cargo. And my boy Kissing Gonzo. Thank you, Kissing Gonzo, for the positive words. I do appreciate it. I don't know about that username. Got to be careful with some of these usernames, dog. But no, big props to everybody. Why is Kanye West? Thank you for coming back. All you lurkers out there, thank you. All you lurkers helping me out. Chem Goblin, thank you, Chem Goblin, for coming in. Estonian, you're great. Gasparincia, thank you, Gasparincia, for coming in. Ace Fram, once again, if I haven't given you props yet, Ace Fram. Justin Freakin. Okay. Is that pro-Russian icons? What is that? Or is that pro-LGBTQ? It's hard to tell. Justin Freakin. Interesting setup. Woke Patriot, big props to you. And never forget, brother. Big props to you. Never forget, brother. Ignorance is bliss. Choose woke over dozed. And no, I'm not. Justin a good guy. Okay. But no, Coup in Bolivia, I'm not sure what direction it's going to go in. Right now, it does appear to be, I guess, similar to the one previous, where it was kind of a will they or won't they kind of situation. The Coup does not have the backing of the international community or Bolivia's neighbors, but that doesn't really matter. Like I said, you could smooth that stuff over later. I mean, it does matter ultimately in the sustainability of this military coup, but you don't need it to do the coup. You don't need that. So are we going to get a speech from Homeboy? Are we going to get a speech from the president? He looks like he's getting in front of a microphone. See if Al Jazeera has something going on here. No. Yeah, he looks like he's getting in front of a microphone here. Hold on now. Hold on.
Yes, we have. Please state your doctrine.
So is this the military general?
Pray for our heroes that gave their life for the homeland, for the Bolivian people.
Yeah, okay.
And for the equality of all human beings. Do you swear that you will perform your responsibility?
Right.
Commander of the
So this is the coup government trying to legitimize, okay, we're the legitimate government now. We did a little ceremony.
Vice Admiral of the Bolivian Army. And that you will respect the political constitution of the state and the law of the plurinational Bolivia state.
Now, they'll respect it now. I mean, not, we gotta violate it to do this, but
heroes of our liberation of the Bolivian people are actually praise you in case of you're not in charge or you not do what you are responsible for. You will be chastised. You are in position of the post that you've been appointed.
Okay, so this is just them. This is
the
bad,
authorities have sworn in their position.
Interesting. Okay. They're moving fast. Yeah, now I'm part of them. Yeah, they're moving really fast.
We were listening to the President Luis Arce live from La Paz, Bolivia, as he appointed the new chiefs and new authorities of the armed
I was
forces
wrong.
of the
Okay,
country.
that's what I thought. I thought he was the president.
This
Okay,
happened
no.
amid a full
No. So
house-
he was continuing the government. He was okay. He's like, no, I fired the other guy who's currently attempting a coup. You're the new general of the legitimate Bolivian army. Okay, so that's what's going on. That was the president continuing government, continuing the business of government, and appointing a new general who's probably going to be immediately rallying, going out there and trying to stop this coup. Okay, very
and the
interesting.
state of Bolivia.
Okay, interesting stuff.
We are still seeing live images.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was the coup legitimizing itself. No, that was the president getting a new general in charge.
That is said to our first statement.
Good link, Davey. This is a great link.
President of the plurinational Bolivian state and Chief of the Armed Forces, Brother Vice President, distinguished authorities, and Minister, High Command of the Army, public that is here, the press, ladies and gentlemen.
Willy Wonka shit.
For these circumstances, however, it is a satisfaction to occupy
The ceremonies
the
have
post
legitimacy.
of the commander of the army, of the Bolivian army. It's a responsibility that is falling on us. So we appreciate to our brother president, to our brother minister of defense and the high command to trust us. It is a very special situation because nobody desires to see the image that we're looking at in the streets. Nobody. That is why, in my condition of General Commander of the Army and in representation of the three commanders of the forces, I ask or order, I say that all the personnel that is mobilized in the streets should return to their units.
Yeah, he can't say he's going to go after him. That would just put him in a untenable situation, you know, do or die. So he's got to be like, okay, you can just, we'll all forgive and forget. That's the angle he has to go in.
Senator Zúñiga has been a good commander.
Yeah.
And we ask him not to let blood of our soldiers in the streets.
Yeah, that's it. He has to treat this with kid gloves to try and settle everybody down instead of making
Brother
an
President,
adversarial
this
split.
new high commander of the forces, we're going to accomplish what the Constitution says, the political constitution of the state, and what the law demands from our military personnel. We're going to be interested in that the local legal constitutional situation remains according to what the Constitution says. Thank you very much.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, they want to free a bunch of prisoners. They want to free it. You know, it seems like they've been cracking down on corruption. It's like these guys, it doesn't sound like these guys were arrested for political reason. And they're doing this coup and to demanding that these guys get released. All right, so that is very interesting stuff right there. Okay, that's good. That's good. So it does look like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how the factions are made up, though. How much of the military is actually coupping?
We're looking at live images, and we are just about to listen to President of Bolivia, Luis Arce, address the situation from the government house. Let's listen.
Good afternoon, everybody. To our Vice President.
Oh, come on with this. Oh, come on. You're speaking even quieter? You can't turn up the volume any louder.
To our brothers, ministers, vice ministers. We salute our brother, Brigadier in Chief of the Armed Forces of the state, to the Division General Wilson Sanchez Velasquez, General Commander of the Army, to General of Division, Air Division, General of the Air Forces and Vice Admiral,
I'm not sure if he's still in Mexico or
Bolivian
not.
Army, to the Division of the Armed Forces and the General Division, Marcial Gabriel Serraza Gutierrez, General Commander of the...
The General Zúñiga probably overplayed his hand. That's what it's looking like. How many soldiers are participating in the coup? That's the real question.
Commanders, to the military personnel that is accompanying him, to the Vice Admiral, Brigadier, to all who are present in this opportunity, to the Bolivian people that are actually following us as the means of communication and social media. Without any doubt, today has been a very atypical day in the life of a country that wants democracy. We are asking today, we are trying to avoid a coup attempt by the military that are trying to stain their uniform, who are attempting against our political constitution. But also, we count on military that know that our political constitution and respect the law is very important.
Even the guy who attempted the coup previous doesn't like this coup.
To those who are military, and they dress their uniform with pride, and they validate the political laws of a state, of a government that was elected democratically. We reject the attitude of those militaries that unfortunately repeat the recent history of the country, trying to carry out a coup when the Bolivian people have always been a democratic people.
I don't think this guy's squeaky clean, but like I said, I don't think this was deserving of a coup. I don't think his corruption was that bad. He's drinking Mountain Dew. Drinking a little yellow Gatorade. All right, get the last little bit here.
We are in a situation in which the national government in Casa Grande, together with its cabinet and with ministers, with our brothers, Vice President,
drinking garbage,
and together with the Bolivian people, and together with a good military that know how to respect the constitution of the country.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Lenny. Maybe this was his first sponsor.
We have to respect the democracy that has been won by the vote of the people.
They're trying it. It's not successful so far. The president has appointed a new general, and the police and military factions that are currently doing this do not make up the entire military and police.
The Bolivian people, who is actually around this square trying to defend the government.
Wouldn't it be wild if a soldier runs up to the podium, just tackles him, drags him away right then and there? Oh shit, dude. Is that what's happening? Is the military moving in? Well, what the fuck is going on the right here, dude? Oh, that was super loud, sorry. I don't know if that's old footage or if that's live. I don't know. I think that was old footage.
That have rejected this act, to the friendly countries that have pronounced themselves in favor of democracy in Bolivia. We salute all who are at this moment making statements, governors, mayors, social organizations, who are pronouncing themselves against any action against the democracy
Okay,
of the
so look at
people
this.
in
They're
Bolivia.
the civilians are they're pulling their masks down, starting to get in the face of these coup guys. Interesting. Yeah, the civilians are starting to confront the soldiers that are doing the coup. You know, you should be ashamed of yourself, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I haven't seen any tanks.
The commander of police of the Bolivian police.
Looking LARPy. I mean, no, these guys are, you know, they're trained military. They're not
kept the law
LARPers.
as it should be,
But
as the police should behave.
but they would prefer to do this bloodlessly, and I don't think enough of them have enough balls to kill enough
like to
people
salute the presence of our
to seal the deal.
Of our brother, who represents the culture.
This kind of feels like the general wanting to hold on to power, trying to intimidate the president to keep him in power, and that attempt falling flat on its face and failing wholesale. That's what it seems like to me. Looks like the government is going to continue to be the government. These guys are going to stand around for the next, 24 hours, 48 hours.
Social media
occupy a space, but there'll be a negotiation.
Rejecting this coup attempt.
Yeah.
That the only thing they're doing is damage the democracy image of our country.
True.
Before the world.
Yeah, no. As long as no one fires a shot, then then this will just be
forward.
Embarrassing. It won't have to turn into something far worse. Oh shit! What's going on over here, dude?
We are sure that with everything that is happening today in our country,
he's decrying the military. He's freaking out about the military attempting the coup.
Appointments that we have made today, we're going
leave the man alone.
To abolish and
Jesus,
to put
this
down
looks like a
the intentions of some military. We call the Bolivian people to mobilize. We call the Bolivian people.
Yeah, he's telling
to
them to
keep
go
the
home.
calm, because all Bolivians together, we're going to.
It looks like a very popular runaway.
All the coup attempt in this country.
Does this push Bolivia towards U.S. or Russia? This is an opportunity for the United States to, get some points, but it's also an opportunity for Russia to come in. If this was more serious, then
commander of air forces.
Yeah, then the Bolivian government might be asking for help from one of those governments.
Salute the 3 new commanders to respect not only the political constitution of the Bolivian state, that is actually because the military command cannot be broken.
This is such a cluster.
The military should respect the
we don't
constitutional
know what right now who will benefit, but this
country.
is an opportunity for those empires to benefit. Okay, so here we have, I think these are coup police.
Together with
holding back people. That's right. So they're holding back the protesters.
So that we can continue and guarantee that the military forces be in the service of the people.
Interesting. Okay, so here we see.
Thank you very much.
The force, because it's not the entire police force, but this is the portion of the police force that is agreeing with the general that is committing this coup. Wow, look at that. Look at that little contraption right there. Oh, wow. They just have a barricade. They have a barricade. They're just scooching down the street. Guy's got a cigarette.
We were just listening to the Bolivian President Luis Arce from the government house addressing this situation that has been underway in the South American country. Once again, he called to respect democracy.
Commando. I mean,
Let's
even
recall
then,
that hours ago, the president denounced irregular mobilizations from the national.
No, so I mean, even then, even if a couple shots were to be fired, I think it needs to happen. It needs to happen bloodlessly, or the whole thing goes tits up.
After the
Is this live? I don't know if this is live or prior footage. I don't know.
In his address, Luis
What are they carrying Girl Scout cookies for? They got big old boxes of Thin Mints.
and democracy in the
What
country
are they carrying?
against the coup attempt.
Maybe it's like tear
And the
gas.
people
Maybe it's like tear
cheered
gas
and
grenades.
shouted that the Bolivian president
Yeah,
is
dude, look at
not
these people
alone.
overrunning the police,
Clearly,
overrunning the
stands
military.
against the coup attempt. Before
No one wants to be shot
announcement,
at, but they're checking them. They're calling them out.
the
Yeah, look at
Bolivian
these people.
president
The military
was
police are being
preceded by the
overrun, dog.
Commander General of the Army,
Hell
who
yeah!
ordered all units
This people
in the
power.
streets to return to their positions and respect the democratic order.
Yeah, the
a
police were
statement that
desperately
was
trying
backed
to
by the
block
president
off the
and
protesting to
cheered
get
by
it to
the
stop.
people. So we are now looking at live images.
Oh, this is live. Okay. Wow, this is happening in real time, dude. Real
Murillo
time. Look at the
Square, and we're
police.
looking at the military police who are getting
Damn, I gotta go
off
get an oil
the
change, but
square.
this is way too important.
Let's recall that these images that we're looking live from Bolivia
Why are you
come
committing a
just
coup against
minutes
their own country?
after
Why are you committing a
the
coup against us?
president
Why?
and the
Why?
general commander of the army have
The journalists are on the front
the
line of
nation
this.
and
What the
clearly
fuck?
ordered all units to go
Why are you
back
committing
to
a coup,
their
sir? Why are you
positions.
committing a coup? You want to leave a statement? Can
And
you
they
give me a
have been
statement,
called
sir?
To respect the democratic order. Let's recall that we are
Look, they're surrounded. Look, they're totally fucking
from the
surrounded.
past
Get the hell out
hours
of there.
Witnessing what has
The
been
cops are
denounced
completely
as a
surrounded. There's
coup
people, there's a whole
attempt
phalanx
by
of people right behind
the
them.
president himself, Luis Arce, just hours ago tweeted
Wonder if they have oil.
on his social network
Yeah, I don't know if this has to do with the United
that
States
there were irregular
resource
mobilizations
acquisition.
from the army.
You know, the
Let's
rumors.
listen
Oh, that
to
guy has
our
really he has
correspondent
double.
Freddy
He's got
Morales
double the
from the
white,
site.
but he's got double white batons, dude. He's like a mini boss. They're pulling their masks down. Yeah, this is fucking awesome. Did you glaze the general before committing treason?
We have not been able to establish contact
glaze the
right
general
now.
for
We are
committing
waiting
treason.
from
What?
statements
Glaze?
from
Huh?
our correspondent.
Take my
Freddy
laugh back. I don't know what I was
who
laughing
is
at. Well, it just
in
happens to
the
be
Murillo
convenient reason to
Square
be wanting.
just after the declarations, the statements made by the
Put
Bolivian
the rifle
president,
down.
Luis
Answer me a
Arce,
question.
and also the
Exactly.
Commander General of the Army.
What does your
who
mom
have
think about you
called
committing a
all
coup, sir?
military units in the
Leave me
square
alone.
To go back to their
How you doing? I am
positions
Moser,
and
TTV. How you
restore
doing?
Democratic order.
Pretty wild. People power in action
These
here.
are
This is
live
really something
images
else.
from
In real time, just watching
Murillo
the
Square.
police
Let's recall that
collapse.
also
It doesn't really look like they have
different political leaders from
the staff. It
country
doesn't
and
look like the
also
police
from
have
the
enough people
region
to
have quickly
hold this
stated
in
their
check.
position defending
Got people milling about everywhere.
the
They got
democratic order,
they
defending
have no control.
the presidency of Luis Arce in what was denounced as a coup attempt in the country. Let's recall that Bolivia also had a coup attempt that was actually carried out in the year 2019. So leaders and the Bolivian president and the whole community themselves were very emphatic on this not happening again. We're now watching.
It does seem, like I said, the motivations seem to be about this general wanting to keep power,
outside the government
keep his
house.
position.
These are live
Just
images.
checking the
We've been
president, you
covering
know.
this in from the south
Don't coup me, bro.
with the help of our correspondent Freddy Morales from site. We have
All right,
been
interesting. Yeah, it
following
looks like this
closely
whole thing
ever
is
since
deflating
the
right before our
Bolivian
eyes,
president
literally.
denounced the coup attempt, and we've just had the
Coup or no coup?
statements.
Who are these
from the Bolivian
guys?
president
Who are these
restoring
wise
the
guys over
order,
here?
The democratic order in
It's
the
like,
country.
hey, yo, hey, Gabagool. It's the Bolivian version of
authorities have been issuing their
Sopranos.
statements on the situation.
Gabagool,
The last
smoking
order that was
cigarettes. What are
issued
they
just
up to?
minutes
That's the
ago
president?
Was for all military
No, the
units
president.
to
No, he was wearing a white
retreat
button-up
from
shirt. We saw the
Murillo
president.
Square, where they had been positioned. Again, we recall
That wasn't the president.
after the president had
Maybe the president of the
denounced
local
irregular
gentlemen's club.
mobilizations from military units. We also
If you're
witnessed
interested in this
military
space
units
on Twitch,
trying
you were the first
to
one I've seen talking world news.
get inside
That's the news
government
underground.
house.
We world
But
news,
just
local
minutes ago,
news.
we had official
Cover all the news
statements
as much
from
as I
the
can, as much as I have time for.
Commander
At the
of the Army
Mandalorian
and
on the back
also
of that
from
van. Disney
the
is
Bolivian
everywhere.
President. restoring the order. Let's go and see some of the international reactions.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I feel pretty safe saying that this is...
these events. We are now looking on screen.
Yeah, Pedro Sanchez here. Spain strongly condemns. Yeah, this whole thing.
Spanish Prime.
Yeah, this whole... We literally just witnessed it collapse. He put on a jacket. It's winter in Bolivia. Is that the guy? You saying that was the president? Hold on. That ain't the damn president. Because we saw the president. Hold on. Let's see here. Up here a little bit. Yeah, this guy. I mean, he definitely seems like an important person. He's like smoking cigarettes. He's smoking cigarettes with the homies right out front. For real? That was this guy? That ain't this guy. This guy's wearing glasses. It's not the guy, Davey. It's not the guy. You gaslighting me, bruh. Oh, man, this is Tony Montana right here, dude. This is Tony Montana. I don't know. I don't know who this guy is. He seems important, though. Third brother president, maybe? Okay. Related? You can literally take off glasses. Okay, fine. It's the fucking president. I don't fucking know. Fine. Yeah. It's easy to gaslight you. It is easy to gaslight me. It is. All right. Well, that's all the time I have. I got to go get this oil change. I got stuff to do. This coup does appear to be deflating in front of our eyes, literally in real time. Thank you, I am Moser TTV. Appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe there, just like TT Moser, if you want more news underground. But there's the link right there that Davey provided. Big props to you, Davey. Thank you again for that link. That was extremely helpful, giving us information literally in real time, live, as the president appoints a new general. As the general then makes a speech, says we're going to go after these guys, and then we literally see in real time the people of Bolivia overwhelming the police that are aligned with the military coup organizers, getting surrounded and overwhelmed and just pushed out. Thank you for following Commando Solo. Definitely. So, next stream we'll be following up on this. Hopefully, like I said, it doesn't really appear like things are going to get bloody, and it doesn't appear like that would be a smart move that's going to change anything. It would just make things worse. Those soldiers would be, later arrested and held, for murder. They don't get a free pass because they're a military if they're killing civilians, and they're ordered to if the person that's ordering them to kill civilians is illegitimate. So you don't get a free pass on that. So that's what if the soldiers are hearing, fire, 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 they're like, okay, is this coup actually happening? Because if this coup fails, my ass goes to jail for killing somebody. So I think, that's a big part of the hesitation. But as long as things stay bloodless, these guys will just be milling about. There'll be some kind of negotiation. And these guys will probably have to be placated because, like I said, you don't want to put them in a do or die situation where it's like, no, once you give up, you're going to be arrested for attempting a coup. What you lie to them and then you do the punishment later. Okay, that's to be perfectly cynical and honest. That's what I would do. I'd be like, no, we won't go after you or anything. Just give up, stop this coup, come back. You can have your job. But then, like 1 month later, I would be immediately investigating every single one of these traitorous bastards that fucking tried to attempt a coup to militarily overthrow my government. But that's just me. I don't think, I prefer to change governments democratically. I don't prefer to change governments at the barrel of a gun. Sometimes that is necessary for freedom to thrive. 9 times out of 10, 9.9% of the time out of 10, democratic solutions are what's needed, not, rifles and blood and guts and stuff. All right, but no, thank you, everybody. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. Glory to the Ukrainian democracy. Glory to the Bolivian people who seemingly, with their own, are, without any special, military gear or anything, just pushing back on this coup, out there chanting "Coup and swoop." But no, thanks again. Do appreciate it, and we'll see you next time on the News Underground, folks. Very interesting stuff. Thanks again, Davey, for your great links and great timing. Do appreciate it. You got it, Moser TTV. Have yourself a good one, buddy. Yeah. You know the three-step program. You know the three-step program. You don't need to hear it.
This is better.
Political activism, motherfuckers.
Are you sure you don't want me to do the gravy?
Political activism, bitches. Have a good night, y'all. Take care of yourself.
The purple posse.
I'm gonna go get an oil change. It's the only thing that's ever worked, baby.